Hello, listening people.
Hello.
You're listening to Spin Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Sawinski.
And I'm Bartek last name.
Hello, Bartek last name.
Hi, Ryan.
We are Spin Polish. Did you know that?
Yes, I did actually.
Did you know why we're called that, though?
Yes.
Well, tell us.
We have over 140 episodes of precedence being called that, so we are still that.
Oh, okay. It's also because we're always spitting, because we're just such stylish dressers. And we both happen to be Polish, isn't that right?
Yes, I think this is my brother's shirt.
Okay, I don't know what that comes from. Like, your brother handed this shirt to you today. He was like, I'm a stylish dresser. I'm also Polish. Is this what your brother said to you this morning when you woke up?
I didn't talk to him
He,
at
in
all.
fact, threw the shirt at you in your face and just said, in Polish, I am your brother, and then walked off.
He learnt Polish?
Of course.
Wow.
He is Polish, as are we both.
Oh.
But
Is he always spitting?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
I mean, you're wearing a shirt, aren't you? So, Bartek, this is Unappreciated Masterpieces, the show in which we provide an audio commentary track for movies that seemingly don't deserve a commentary track. But that's where we say, what do we say, Bartek? What do we say to that?
WRONG.
Yeah, that's right. We say wrong. We say wrong because these movies are great. These movies are artworks. Every film is a piece of art, and we delve into them and talk about the minutiae of greatness that they are. Isn't that right?
Yes. But Ryan, what did you mean when you said seemingly?
Well, we say seemingly because there might be some people out there that go, the movie you're covering is great, and we go, they are. So there might be some people listening to this going, whatever movie that you guys covered, say Major Pain,
I remember that one.
that's a great movie. Why would anyone say it isn't? And I say, look at the rating online. That's it. So Bartek, what's the movie we're covering?
This episode, we are covering the 2011 classic film Anatomia Strachu.
Go again with that one?
We are covering the 2011 classic Anatomia Strachu.
Amatonia Strachu?
Anatomia
Anatomia
Strachu.
Strachu.
Yes.
Sounds like a vampire. Are we watching
Strachu
vampires?
does mean fear.
Are we watching Vampires Academy again, in which vampires were called Stragoons or whatever? The Stragoo?
Strigoi?
Strigoi.
I think it was Strigoi.
So, Bartek, is it Vampire Academy again?
No.
Well, what is it? What does that translate into? Because even though I am Polish, I don't speak the language. I'm like your brother. In fact, you're the odd one out in the Polish culture because only you speak the language.
Damn, I'm so weird.
So what is this weird word that you're... Weird series of words?
Anatomia Strachu translates to anatomy of fear.
Okay.
Which, considering we know what the title is, that's very different to what it actually is, which is trespass.
From 2011,
That's what I said.
with our homeboy, Nick Cage.
Well, he's not from our home, but he's our homeboy.
He's our homeboy, Nicolas Cage.
yes.
Well, we're doing a Nicolas Cage movie. We need some Nicolas Cage experts. We have some guests with us from another podcast.
I didn't turn left until now. I didn't notice.
They were just sitting there quietly, just being like vampires. Bartek, introduce our amazing guests for the listening people out there.
For this episode, we have two guests, and they are from the Passive Aggressive podcast. They are Dan and Matt.
Hello, boys.
Hello.
So which one's which?
I'm Matt, the aggressive
Yeah.
one.
And I'm Dan, the passive one. That's how it works.
Just like, yeah.
Welcome to the Passive Aggressive Podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's get into the Jane Bunn segment.
I do love Jane Bunn.
You guys do. So, guys, hello, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
No
Yeah.
problem. You guys are the Nick Cage experts.
Well,
Well, I love Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Dan
I-
tolerates my love of Nick
yeah,
Cage.
I don't know a huge amount. We actually have our friend Chris, who does a segment on our show where he reviews Nick Cage movies.
But even
Yeah.
he, I think,
Yeah.
has a limit to Nick
Yeah.
Cage.
See, I
I have
thought-
my limits,
I
no
thought
bounds when it
we'll
comes to
get
Nick
you
Cage.
two guys to give him a bit of a detox on
Yeah,
Nick
yeah.
Cage
I know.
and give you guys the straight hit of adrenaline
Yeah.
that is Nicolas Cage, straight to the heart.
Yeah.
Because this movie, Trespass, for those listening people at home or on the train, or if you're Nicolas Cage, excavating dinosaur bones illegally, this movie is a Joel Schumacher movie, and a Nicolas Cage movie, and a Nicole Kidman movie,
Wow.
and Ben Mendelsohn. So
Wow.
that's like 15 levels of crazy energy going on.
Yeah.
Because those people are all insane.
Yeah. And I don't know which movie came first, but this is a reunion for Nick Cage and Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
The Knowing, they were also in
I
together,
think it
weren't they?
came out like the year after. I want to say Knowing came out like 2010.
Yeah.
So the year before?
Yeah, so this is the year after, I'm saying. Like,
Trespass.
Trespass. We're covering Trespass, Bartek? We're not
Trespass,
covering
yes.
Knowing, the movie with CGI reindeer.
Yeah, I know.
And so Anatomy of Fear, that is what it was called
In Poland?
In Poland. Is
In
it?
Polish, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
It sounds like a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah.
It does.
Poland just can't.
Covering Anatomy of Fear by Alfred Hitchcock, starring Nicolas Cage.
I mean, that's a great title.
It
Yeah,
is a
it
great
is.
title.
Yeah.
It kind of implies a different kind of film, I think. But,
Yeah, 'cause
I mean, it fits.
I mean, Trespass, when you said we're doing Trespass,
Yeah.
I got excited immediately because I thought you meant Trespass with Bill Paxton,
No.
William Sadler, and the Ices.
And the Ices.
And the
No.
Ice-T, Ice Cube. I was excited because I love that movie. Then I got even more excited when I realised you were talking about Cage.
The Cage Fest.
Yeah, yeah.
So, guys at home, you have to have your copy of the 2011 Nicolas Cage Nicole Kidman classic Trespass. Because I've got a copy, you should have a copy. Because I'm going to count down from 3. I'm going to go down to 1, and I'm going to say play. You're going to press play, and hopefully we'll be lined up as we speak about the majesty that is Trespass. So get ready, because I'm going to start this in 3, 2, 1, play. So, people, what is our history with Trespass?
Well, I saw Trespass pretty soon to its release, I think, but
Not at the cinema?
not at the cinema.
For the 18
It was-
days it was there?
No, no, it was an illegal copy, I'm pretty sure. And I'm also fairly certain I was high AF. So I can't remember. I cannot remember one single thing.
I like you're
So-
using the lingo
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
the,
yeah.
of the children.
Yeah.
I was high AF.
Yeah.
Now we know you're cool.
And
not
what he
cool.
meant was he was on top of Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And he had a
Yeah.
copy of this movie on his phone, and he was watching it with
Yeah.
lack of oxygen. So you,
I don't remember a thing about it, and rewatching it, leading up to this podcast, was like watching it afresh, watching it new.
and you felt bathed.
I did. I didn't know at the time Joel Schumacher was the director,
Ooh.
and he, of course, did one of my favourite films, Falling Down.
We'll talk about that. That's one of my favorite
yeah,
movies
one of my
too.
favourite
Ryan
films
It
ever.
showed
also
me that a
has
few
the
months ago.
cinematographer.
Now, I'm not. How do you pronounce his name? Because he's a great cinematographer.
I can't remember.
Andre
Andre Rio.
Bachelizzi.
Oh, it was that Polish name, wasn't it?
Yeah, you would know, Bartek. You're the expert.
I can pronounce it. I just need to see it.
Yeah, so
I think it was Andrzej Wozniak or something.
probably that.
He's an awesome cinematographer.
Yes, he is. Bartek, what about you? Your history with Trespass?
I hadn't seen it, but something about it was very familiar. I don't know if I'd seen the trailers or maybe clips from it in the past, but there was something familiar about it. But I definitely hadn't seen it.
Fair enough. Mr. Passive of the Aggressive. You're a big Nick Cage lover, aren't
Well,
you?
not
Radar.
quite. I don't feel very qualified to be on this podcast because I don't watch many movies.
What are you talking about?
I
Isn't your favourite movie Trespass from 2011?
I actually really, I don't want to get into my review too early, but I really enjoyed it. But yeah, no, the first I'd heard of it was when you first asked us to watch it. But it was, it's really, I actually really like the cast. It's
Yeah,
a really good
great
mix of
cast.
people.
It is
people
a
who I actually recognise.
great cast,
Yeah.
like Nick Cage, Nicole Kidman, obviously,
Yeah.
Ben Mendelsohn,
Yeah.
Australian talent, who's now a worldwide sensation as Bad Guy McBadguy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that used to be in Felicity, the TV show, back in the 90s, who I...
Wow, there's some great sunglasses you're wearing. That's the first thing that struck me in the very start. I was like, those glasses are dope. I mean,
Yeah.
I want those. Looks like he's been like at a shooting range. Look like safety glasses almost.
He was getting prepared for Kick-Ass or something. Like, here's the thing. My history with this movie is I had not seen this movie until doing it for this podcast, but I had educated myself about this movie to the lead up of its release because I am a huge fan of Ben Mendelsohn, the actor.
Yeah.
Yes,
I've
you
loved him since I was like a small child, and my parents shown me his movies, maybe at an inappropriate age. But I just, I'm Bartek and I are actors. We love actors, and Ben Mendelsohn is one of those actors. Like
Yeah.
he always plays Ben Mendelsohn roles, but
Yeah.
he does them so well. And
Yeah.
I've always loved Idiot Box, a movie worth
fantastic.
checking out.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I like to keep tabs on his career.
Yeah.
And this is one of those turning point movies where I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, he's starring with Nick Cage, Nicole Kidman. And the other aspect that I kept on tabs is Joel Schumacher. One of my favorite movies is Falling Down. But I have a real hate relationship with Joel Schumacher because he's never, in my opinion, and now seeing this movie, I've inadvertently seen all of his movies.
Wow.
Joel Schumacher. I have never liked any Joel Schumacher movie other than Falling Down. I
I
don't
like
mind.
Tigerland.
Yeah,
I like Tigerland.
I like 8mm.
Yeah, 8mm is
somewhat,
pretty good.
which is a reunion for Nick Cage
Yeah.
and Joel. But Falling Down is like the top tier. Like that's the one where I go, wow, Joel, why don't you make films like this? Like his direction. We all know Joel Schumacher has the legacy of Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And the over-the-top garishness of stuff like Batman and Robin or The Lost Boys or
Lost
stuff
Boys
like that.
great, yeah,
It
it's a
is.
great film.
It's a good movie, but what I'm saying is I like Joel Schumacher's direction in Falling Down because it's the right level of gritty and grounded and realistic, but also goofy and over the top in some places.
Yeah.
And for me, I've had a real hate relationship with him because he's never done anything as good as Falling Down in
Right.
my book.
I think he's wasting his potential. Is that what you...
I've always thought, well, was it Michael Douglas? Like, Michael Douglas was a producer on that
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
and he knows how to put movies together. Like, he's responsible for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yep.
So I've always wondered, well, maybe it was just Michael Douglas kind of pressured Joel to calm down a bit in his direction style. And, you know, after seeing this movie, I see he's teamed up with the same cinematographer again. I see that Joel Schumacher does have that talent from Falling Down, even though I think Falling Down's far superior. That's like one of my top 5 movies. I
Yeah,
just love
yeah,
Falling
yeah.
Down.
Well, it's
I
very
think
appreciated. This is
I,
appreciated, yeah.
also, that movie's kind of forgotten. Like, not
It
enough
is
people
really,
talk
isn't
about
it?
it.
Yeah.
Where was Michael Douglas's
Yeah.
Oscar nomination for that performance? Like, that's one of his best.
Yeah, you showed
Easily
me that.
his best
Yeah, you
performance,
showed
yeah.
me that film like a month and a bit ago, and it was amazing.
Robert Duvall, he's great at it. But I see this movie, and I finally watched it. For some reason, I just never got around to it. I just kind of remembered it as that movie with Nicolas Cage wearing glasses.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, that's the thing I remember on the poster. It's him and Nicole Kidman looking moody, and he's
Yeah.
wearing glasses. And I'm like, I could imagine Nick Cage being like, for this movie, I need to wear glasses to look like an everyman.
He's wearing straight reading glasses now. Now, are they the same glasses as before, as the shooting range glasses?
I think they're different
Are they?
glasses.
What do you call those lenses that change as you
Yeah,
walk into
the-
the...
Trans.
Did we have transition lenses in 2011?
Yes.
I knew a
We did.
guy in 2009 who had them, so...
Right,
When-
so that okay. So I thought
When-
maybe that was
It's weird because when I think of people who wear like reading glasses that have colored lenses, they're usually people who are dyslexic because
Oh,
they have
yeah,
tinted
yeah.
different color
Yeah, it
lenses
helps
to
you
help with
read
their
better. Yeah.
dyslexia. What I'm saying is, was Nick Cage did he method act dyslexia for this movie?
Would
when
not surprise me
when
one single
halfway
bit.
through production he decided he wanted to be the villain.
Yeah.
We'll get into that obviously, but just for a quick rundown, Bartek, what is this movie? Like, what's it about? For people who maybe aren't as familiar with Trespass.
Well, for everyone thinking that it is about the psychological anatomy of fear,
you mean the Polish people?
stop being Polish. That's my punchline. This film is about. It's one of those films that I walked into not realizing it's basically going to be set in one location.
Yeah.
I thought this was the inciting incident, and then the rest of the film will be something else. Kind of like last year when we did Kidnap.
Yeah.
When the child got kidnapped and the mum chased the kidnapper.
You didn't expect the whole movie to be her,
I thought-
Halle Berry in
I
a
thought, yeah.
minivan
Oh, is that
chasing a
movie?
car? Yeah.
I have not seen that film.
Yeah, I thought
Excellent.
it was going
Excellent
to be
Excellent.
like 10, 15 minutes of chase, and then the rest of it's going to be like investigation or something. But no, that was the whole thing.
It was the Mad Max Fury Road of Halle Berry movies.
Yeah, I didn't. I walked into this somewhat blind. I didn't know that it was going to be like an entire whole thing is the home invasion plot. And that's basically it. There is a home invasion plot. That is the conflict. But obviously, with a home invasion, there has to be reasons behind it. So
Twists.
There's so many twists and
Yeah,
turns.
yeah.
It was amazing.
I really enjoyed
Yeah.
the roller coaster
Yeah.
ride, Dan. Yeah.
It was very intense.
And basically, they're being invaded by 4 people, 3 men, 1 woman, and we basically learn throughout the film, while Nick Cage is stalling, I guess, what everyone's motivations and backstories are.
Yeah, we learn about the family, we learn about the criminals. Heck, I even learned halfway through this movie that the home security lady is Saul Goodman's secretary in Breaking Bad.
Really?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
looked that
that's
up
her.
on IMDb.
I was like, I know this woman's face, and then I was like, who is she? And then I'm like, oh, Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, of course, she's. So I learned something too. This movie educates all. It's an educational movie for everyone involved,
Except the Polish.
except for the Polish.
What are they thinking?
What are they
Fear?
thinking? Oh, look, a bit of foreshadowing there.
Yeah.
It's a
Yes,
setup
yes.
to an
Yeah.
eventual payoff.
Almost a car crash there.
Almost car crash. It's a deceptive pole.
It thinks that
pun.
this is about Anatomy of Fear as well.
This movie is a return for Nicole Kidman for us.
Yeah.
We've had her on a few times
Yeah,
at
we
this
have,
point.
yeah.
I never thought when we started this show that Nicole Kidman would star in so many unappreciated masterpieces of cinema. Because when I think of Nicole Kidman, I think of her as like one of the most well-known actresses in the world. Like there was that period of time where, you know, she was married to Tom Cruise, and even after that where she was doing all of these huge movies, like whether
She's
I like them or not,
Oscar-nominated, yeah.
Oscar nominated,
Yeah.
stuff like Moulin Rouge and other things.
The Hours, was it?
Yeah.
Is that the one she won the Oscar
I
for,
think
right?
so.
She's a huge star. I think this is maybe the first movie other than BMX Bandits that I have seen of hers. I don't think I've seen any film.
Excuse me, did you not watch Bewitched?
Yeah.
with Will Ferrell?
I
boy.
barely got through the trailer, to be
And
honest.
Steve Carell as Uncle Arthur.
Oh,
The
geez.
biggest mystery of that movie, just to delve into it, is in the universe of that movie,
Oh,
Bewitched.
right.
Bewitched, the show exists.
Yeah,
and it just
it's very
happenstance that Will Ferrell wants to remake Bewitched, and he plays Darren, and she is real life witch who's going to play Samantha. But the biggest, weirdest thing is Will Ferrell loves the character of Uncle Arthur, and then Steve Carell comes in the movie as the character of Uncle Arthur, and then you go, so wait a moment.
And there was footage in the film of the original Uncle Arthur in the show.
And then you go, but Steve Carell's supposed to be Paul Lynn, Uncle Arthur. So it makes you go, wait a moment, is this movie saying, one, that Uncle Arthur is, like, not a character, but actually a real-life witch? Or is Paul Lynn, the actor, a witch? Like,
Wow.
these are the things that still
Yeah.
boggle my
and,
mind.
and he looks like Steve Carell.
And he now looks like Steve Carell.
Well, it sounds like Bewitched is a real existential.
It's a
Like, sort
real
of, like-
existential movie. Like,
What?
I think about it a lot.
I found it interesting that Nicole Kidman keeps her, I guess, normal accent, is it? It's kind of like an
Her-
Australian with a slight twang.
Yeah, this is just her generic American
Yeah.
accent, if I'm honest with you. Like, she's had some Australianisms, but not as much as you would expect. Like, I was saying this to my fiance last night, like, Nicole Kidman's an interesting actress because you can tell when it's a good movie or bad movie for her via her hair. Because
Right.
Nicole Kidman's got extremely curly hair in real life, and
Yeah.
she's a ginger. And it depends what movie she's in. You can tell if it's going to be a good or bad movie by the, like, how shit her hair looks. And
The
this,
hairdressing budget.
because sometimes, you know, the hair people don't know how to deal with curly hair, so they think, oh, we'll straighten it, and it just, like, makes it brittle.
Yeah.
And Nicole Kidman's one of those people who's dyed her hair like a million times. No one actually knows what color it is at this point. You know what I mean? Like, in this movie, it's a gingery blonde, but in another movie, it's like fire red, and then other movie, she's pure blonde, and then
The
sometimes
Stepford
she's
Wives.
brown. We've done that one.
Yeah.
That one, she's got black hair, and then
Which one?
she's blonde. Stepford Wives.
Oh, yes.
The cinematic classic.
That's the first film we did of hers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What with Bette Midler, everyone's favorite Bette Midler.
Ah.
How good would this movie have been if instead of Ben Mendelsohn it was Bette Midler?
Amazing.
How good! And she's and her husband, instead of a brother, it's a husband character, and it's Danny DeVito, and they're doing Ruthless People
Oh, I
again.
love me some DeVito.
Ryan, earlier you mentioned this film was in theaters for only 18 days.
18 days.
Really?
I thought that
Was,
a joke.
hold on, was that not the trivia point that 18 days was the time between it leaving theaters and being on DVD?
Oh, right. So this movie has quite an interesting history. This movie lasted in cinemas for less than 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then was straight to DVD within 18 days, and that means this
It's
is
the
the
world
movie
record, yeah.
world record of quickest turnaround of from being in cinemas to straight to
Yeah.
VOD.
Oh my gosh.
And
They were
it
printing
made,
those discs while this was in the cinema.
yeah,
Yeah.
this movie had a budget of like $40-50 million or something, and it made back $24,000
Oh no, that's disappointing.
at the box
I heard,
office.
it was
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard it was 9 million, but still a bomb.
Oh right, I was
Yeah.
reading the IMDb. It's
I
like
read-
24,000.
I read two different sources, but both of them still made it sound like, it bombed by like only making a fifth of its budget or something.
which is a disappointment, you know,
Yeah.
because
It's such a solid film. Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
Nicolas Cage draw in the young'uns?
Not like he used to.
Did he ever draw in the young people to the cinema?
Well, I think when he was in his the golden action period.
Oh, when he
maybe
was doing Con Air
when he was doing
and The
Con
Rock.
Air, Face Off,
The Rock.
yeah, The Rock, all classic action films.
Face Off is the best.
Yeah, Face Off is the film that made me love Nicolas Cage.
Not Peggy Sue Got Married?
No, well, I went and saw all those earlier films after the fact, sort of thing.
So,
and sort of,
not Wild at Heart?
no, that's an amazing film too.
It is.
And he's great in it.
Him and David Lynch deserve to work together more often.
Yeah,
because
that's
they're
true.
both weird.
Yeah.
I remember having to explain in previous episode and even in conversation that people forget this, but Nicolas Cage isn't his full name. That's not his real name.
Yeah.
He's a Coppola.
yeah.
Or Coppola. He's the nephew, I do believe.
Francis Ford Coppola.
and his middle
yeah.
name's Kim.
I forgot
that right?
yeah.
K-I-M.
Remember we did that I gave you a quiz with celebrities' fake or
I
real
knew,
names.
I knew he was a
Remember that?
Coppola.
Yeah.
His middle name's Kim, spelt the female way.
Yeah.
Because usually if it's a guy's name, it's usually K-Y-M, like, sometimes.
Yeah,
or-
Is it?
Yeah, I think
I've
it
never
can
heard
it
that,
can be
no.
either. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, Kim Gingell, Australian comedic icon, is
Yeah,
K-Y-M.
To be fair, the one you
I
think
love
of is
Kim
Kim Jong Un.
Yeah,
well, that's
true,
a
yeah.
culturally
Yeah, I
different
know,
name.
but still.
So this
There's
is
Aussie Ben there. as you
there's
say,
old
with,
Benno
with
Benno
the balaclava on.
Benno Mendelsohn. Yeah. This movie has 2 Australians in it, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
We're being represented fairly in this movie as possible cheating whore and sleazy criminal.
Well, there's also a poll for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. Cinematographer.
I was talking about the physical poll, but
Oh, right.
right, yeah.
yes.
that's true.
The cinematography in this film
Is gorgeous.
is great. Like the visual storytelling in this is really great, and it plays just as much as a part
Yeah, you don't-
as the dialogue.
You don't need like an Oscar baity big landscape shot or anything
Yeah.
for this kind of film.
I really do love a movie that allows the passage of time to feel natural. So when you first enter the house, natural sunlight is beaming in and it's done in a way where it's like, oh, that's sunset. And now you look at this point in the movie, there's still some natural light coming in, but you know it's getting towards nighttime. And it feels like, yeah, this feels natural. It's not like suddenly they cut and now it's dark and it's like, oh, 4 hours have passed. Because this first half of the movie is supposed to take place in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or something, because he's timing it, like, once it gets to this point. And I love that in a movie. It's like, one of my favorites is like Dog Day Afternoon, where Dog Day Afternoon really does make you feel like you've gone from the middle of the day to, like, nighttime.
Yeah.
Yet the movie's only, like, 2 hours long.
Yeah, we the audience has to actually wait for Avery, the daughter, to get back.
Yeah.
Avery, the daughter. Yeah. I really didn't expect that party to play into more, but then the movie was like, you expected it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, when the guy's like, my dad has a shit ton of money, I was like, okay, this is going to play back somehow. Like, I actually was waiting for the twist to be Ben Mendelsohn was his dad. For some reason, I thought there was going to be a twist.
Wait, Nick Cage's dad? Or,
No,
oh,
no.
the rich kid.
The rich
Yeah.
kid's dad who's
Right,
got like a
right.
shit ton of money and
Yeah,
drugs.
yeah.
I was waiting for the twist of one of the 2 brothers to be this guy's dad. Because
And then they
you
realize,
know how
oh
that's-
yeah, we're rich. We don't need to trespass.
because you know how that's how movies work, right? Where
Yeah,
everything's connected.
Yeah.
Sometimes movies just forget that they need to be simplistic in their delivery. Like, in the end, this is just a red herring. Like,
Yeah.
it's used so
a
that
red
near the-
herring that's also kind of used as an excuse.
Yeah.
later on,
Yeah.
because, you know, in the end, the daughter used it to incapacitate one of the villains.
Yeah.
But it isn't like there's a twist where it's like, this guy's dad is actually the diamond guy or whatever, like, you know, or it isn't like, you know, Ben Mendelsohn walks in, he's like, what's up, son?
The film doesn't end like Sleepless with a cliffhanger of this rich kid being like, my dad's been taken out. And my uncle too.
yeah, exactly right. This movie has twists, there's turns, it's a psychological thriller and home invasion movie. Do we enjoy these types of movies, these kind of thrillers and home invasion movies?
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of Panic Room a bit.
Yes.
I thought that was what was going to happen at the start, that they'd all
But no
hide
Forrest
in a room.
Whitaker.
No. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And yeah, so I quite like it. I loved all the twists and turns. It was kind of like a soap opera, really.
Well, yeah, that's how they kind of work. What about you, Bartek? We've done a couple of these thrillers, not full-on home invasion movies, but do you like this kind of...
Yeah, they've definitely been some of my favorite episodes to do just because, yeah, there's so much to look at.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to be honest, yeah, we've done a lot of erotic thrillers, but even the ones that aren't erotic, like Kidnapped, they've been.
So
fun.
you saying this wasn't an erotic thriller? There was the bit in which.
Oh, there's some amazing.
There's definitely one.
flashbacks.
There's definitely one.
Did you not
gentleman
see
in
Ben
this
Mendelsohn's
film.
mustache?
Yeah.
I felt aroused. The funny thing is, when you see his mustache in the balaclava, it looks like a greasy, shitty mustache. But
Yeah.
then when you see in the flashbacks, he's got like his black
Yeah.
hair and he looks coiffed. You're like, man, that's a sexy mustache.
It kind of blends in with his balaclava in a way.
Yeah,
so,
I like how shitty his balaclava is as well. Like it's kind of like
Yeah, you
you
see
can
through it.
see
It's
through it.
stretched.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
stretched.
The holes have been stretched. That's the weird thing. So something has to have been stretching them.
Yeah, his big face.
His big tongue, his big eyeballs.
What about you, aggressive man? Do you love aggressively loving home invasion thrillery type? You can say
well, in
your
the-
favorite movies, funny games.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that I actually confused this movie because I had, like I said, I had no recollection of what this film was about. I actually
high AF.
confused those two films together, thinking it was that one. And from memory,
Well, that's fair because Naomi Watts is the star in that one.
Yeah.
And she's an Australian actress.
yeah. And then another connective point, I think, when Cage was trying to negotiate, trying to be in Ben Mendelsohn's part, they offered the part to Liev Schreiber.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct.
So, who is Naomi Watts' husband? Right?
No, it's Tim Roth.
Is it?
In Funny Games? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, in real life.
Oh, in real life?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I'm not up to date with the real life marriage. I mean, to be honest, I looked up Nicolas Cage and was like, oh yeah, he was married to Patricia Arquette and
Yeah.
what's her name? Presley.
Yeah.
Lisa Marie Presley. So I was like, oh, and now he's getting divorced. Currently, so
Ryan, what do you think of thrillers?
love him. I love him. I love a good house invasion movie like a Funny Games, and a Panic Room is a good one to point out as well. I think the thing about them is it's always interesting the dynamic that is formed between in each movie the people who are being invaded and the people who are invading. So this movie does a really good job for me of the power dynamics between Ben Mendelsohn and Nicolas Cage, and the other characters, of course, but between them two fluctuating. Sometimes they're friends, sometimes they're enemies, sometimes they kind of pity one another, sometimes they really do want to kill the other one. Like, there are points in this movie where Nicolas Cage could kill Ben Mendelsohn, he doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't want to, but then there are times when he does want to, and I just kind of love that dynamic in movies. Like with Panic Room, in that movie, for example, you actually do feel for Forrest Whitaker and
Yeah.
his gang of dumbasses, but also you feel sorry for Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
I did love in this film how, when they first come in, they're like, no nonsense, get on the ground, this is my house now. They're really playing up that anatomy of fear. Oh shit, I'm a real podcast. They're really playing it up, but then as it goes on, things start to not go to plan, and they have to kind of improvise around that, and by the end of the film, you almost pity them a bit because so many things are going wrong. They're freaking out. They've lost that composure.
Yeah,
That's-
Ben Mendelsohn's not even in charge. It's the big guy.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're saying about there being a bunch of twists. I really love that about this film.
Twists.
Lots of twists and lots sort of slow drips of information that change the story and, like you said, the changing dynamics. And I think it's maybe a credit to Joel Schumacher
Yeah.
in that it never feels jarring.
Yeah.
No.
Like it never, like in some films where that happens, sometimes it feels like what?
Oh yeah, like
very gradual.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like, oh, that's convenient.
And it happens
like,
so much. It happens.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
yeah.
twists in this, and it never feels like it feels like
yeah.
you never like it's never jarring.
Or
The
predictable either.
The
Yeah,
only
yeah.
complaint I had with this movie, but then the movie was kind of like, I heard you had a complaint about this, was for the first bit of the movie, I wasn't really keen on the flashbacks. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
couldn't you just keep it like in the now
Yep.
and we learn this information gradually? But then the flashbacks serve a great dramatic twist and purpose, and it actually kind of makes you think back on those flashbacks and kind of go, whoa, okay, those are very different. I mean, I think maybe some of the editing on Joel Schumacher's point could have been less garish. There's like a shot where Nicole Kidman's face kind of pops up.
It's
in like a
hilarious.
little,
like in a circle almost.
It's like
Yeah.
someone was having fun with the effects on the editing software. It made me laugh.
It's like those interviews on the behind-the-scenes footage of DVDs when they first came out, where they would have Cameron Diaz in a little bubble
Yeah.
describing a scene in Shrek.
Yeah.
And she's like, the animation's so beautiful. And it's like, you see
The
the
giant
animation.
gingerbread man destroying the town.
And she's like, it made me want to cry how beautiful it was. And she's like in a little bubble in the corner. Maybe Joe could have not done that, but other than that,
The
pretty
only
good.
thing I was iffy on in this film was in this first half, I kind of forgot that there was the female invader.
Oh, because she was too busy doing crack.
Yeah.
And watching home videos of the
Well, when
daughter,
you
which
well,
was
I don't know if you've done crack, but it really makes you feel like going down memory lane of other people's memories.
I can't say I've experienced
Make
that.
them my memories.
Nicole Kidman is an actress that I've always had mixed opinions on. Like a lot of
Yeah.
her movies are movies. Her and Hugh Jackman, I can both recognize are talented actors or actress, but they do movies that aren't for me.
Yeah.
Like I like Hugh Jackman, but I only really like the X-Men movies,
Yeah.
and then he'll do stuff like Australia
Yeah.
Well, he also did Pan, right? Don't forget.
and Pan, obviously
Yeah.
the greatest film ever made.
Prisoners is
Prisoners is great. I
It's
want him
great
to,
film
and
and-
The
yeah.
Prestige is great, and you want
Yeah.
him to do more of those. But he likes doing musicals
Yeah.
and romantic
Yeah.
things and soppy things because that's what he likes to do. And Nicole Kidman likes to do those kind of. I don't know how you nail down Nicole Kidman because, in all honesty, she's had a very diverse
Yeah,
career. Like she
yeah.
did shit like Eyes Wide Shut. Whether you like that movie or not, that's a weird choice to do.
yeah.
For what was an up and coming actress at the time? Like she was still up and coming at that point. That's like in the 90s. So
She could. Yeah, she's just done everything. Like Stepford Wives was this weird comedy. There's this,
there's
thriller.
the Invasion, which is like an action movie where she
Yeah.
like literally broke her arm because she jumped
Oh, in
on
the
a
car
car
accident,
too
right, yeah.
hard.
She was also in.
Gosh.
She was in Lion, which is based on a true story.
Yeah, and she just at the moment she's doing some movie now called Destroyer where she
The
plays.
trailer for that looks great.
And she was and people are upset she didn't get an Oscar
Is
nomination.
Destroyer the film about Matilda the robot?
No, I wish. From Robot Wars. I wish.
Wait, were we talking about that before?
No, we talked about Robot Wars before.
Oh,
shit.
Classic.
Whoops.
Can I
That's
just
part of
point
our
out a
podcast.
visual thing
we start
that I
recording.
really like about this movie? 3 of the criminals you can tell are low-class crims because they wear, like, duct tape on their fingertips, while the big guy, he wears proper gloves to use while shooting. Like, see in the background, he's wearing these gloves. It
Yeah.
kind of shows the dynamic of these 3 are low-class, dumbass criminals that aren't professionals, and he isn't actually a part of their crew. He's a part of the actual gangster crew that are actual professionals and being crime lords.
Yeah.
And it kind of like, that's a nice visual way
yeah.
of showing the audience that he is different to them.
Yeah. Good
Other
work,
than
costume
his-
department.
Yeah, it's like a nice little thing that you probably wouldn't notice. Nicolas Cage is losing it right now. I just needed to point this out to the listening people. Like he's doing the full, we got to negotiate, screaming, yelling. One of my favorite lines in this because of his delivery was, "In your hands, they'll just be shiny rocks, shiny rocks." And I'm just like, I love him. I love him.
That's one of the few scenes where he does sort of
Go full Cage.
go full cage. Well,
When he gets
Ooh.
his hand hurt, he goes full Cage.
Yeah,
When he
yeah.
says it's a negotiation, he goes full Cage a lot in this movie.
yeah, I think this is a pretty strong performance from him
Yeah.
in this film.
Where was his Oscar?
Well,
Where
don't
was his Oscar? Dang it!
but he's a pretty versatile actor too.
He has his own method.
He does. He has his his own shamanic. What was the name of his? I keep forgetting the name of his methods. Shamanic
I tried to bring
naturalism.
It up. Yeah,
or
I
something
tried to
like
bring
that.
it up in Vampire's Kiss.
I want to
episode, but
call
I
it
can't remember.
cageism,
Yeah.
which he cages it up. I love him. We got to talk about the big elephant in the room, which is, we mentioned it briefly, but Nicolas Cage
Yeah.
decided halfway through filming this that he didn't want to do it as the husband,
Right,
but
it was
as
halfway through
the
production.
villain.
The
Right.
trivia mentioned that they were in the middle of.
And he halted production, but then a day later he came back without saying a single word, and he's like back to play the husband. And they even got like Lee Shriver to come in and learn lines, and then he just came back and was like, "Nah, I'm playing the
Oh
husband."
my gosh.
Because
Wow.
Nick Cage
I didn't know that
is-
was halfway through. I thought that was maybe at the beginning during the
No, it was
negotiations.
apparently halfway through filming and production, and then he just decided. And here's the funny thing: it kind of is shadowing a little bit of Francis Ford Coppola. There's a great documentary about this, but he had production troubles with Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now because he didn't learn any lines and he was incredibly fat, and he had to halt production for like 8 weeks to get Marlon Brando up to speed of how to be an actor. And it kind of just made me think, like, Nick Cage, you know what it's like, the whole production and how
Yeah.
terrible it is, but he doesn't care.
Yeah,
It was like He's a crazy, crazy man, and I love him.
Well, I think that's why I love him so much, is because he's such an interesting. He makes so many interesting choices in a landscape, in the Hollywood landscape. We have so many boring actors, so many boring leading men.
Yeah.
He always does something interesting.
Yeah, he is just weird. Like, I could understand why he would want to play the villain, because, let's be honest, Nicolas Cage is better playing villainous roles than heroic roles. Like, in Face Off, it's far more entertaining when he's playing...
Yes.
What's his name? Castor Troy or whatever it is. Where he's dressed up as a priest and he's like headbanging and he's like grabbing chicks' asses, like little girls' asses because he's a pervert. And he shoots a woman. He like shoots through an air stewardess, throws her out of a car and just goes,
Shrug.
whoopsie. Like, we love Nicolas Cage for that. And not like, you know, he is a good dramatic, serious actor. Like, I like some of his like more centered good guy roles. Like a movie that I think is underrated is I want to say it's called The Family Man, where one day he wakes up and he has a family now. Like that's the plot of the movie, where he's like a loner and he's very much like a business oriented
Weatherman?
The Weatherman, probably.
Yeah.
The problem is Nick Cage does a lot of movies that have similar names. The Weatherman, The Family Man.
Almost
like,
rhymes with Wicker Man. Yeah.
Wicker Man, the best movie ever. But then he'll do weird shit where he leans into his crazy, like Matchstick Men, which is a great film where he's got full-on tics and quirks and like, you know, oh, I'll drag you out to the street and kick you till you're pissing blood. Like so much crazy nonsense.
Do you guys know an interesting trivia point about the film The Green Hornet?
I think I do know what you're going to say about how he wanted to play a white Jamaican.
Yeah, he was originally cast as the villain, but
he wanted to play it as a Rastafarian gangster. And Seth Rogen was like, I guess I can't say no to you, but then he dropped out.
Didn't they go to dinner together and he did the accent?
Yeah, and
like
it was terrible.
All dinner? Yeah, and it was like
terrible.
horrible. Yeah.
But they still wanted him, but then he dropped out because he did Kick-Ass instead.
Yeah, they got Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz to play Christoph Waltz.
Well, he lucked out there.
What, Christoph Waltz?
He didn't, unfortunately. Nick Cage lucked out
with
by taking.
Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
Where
That
plays,
was a great role.
Was it Big Daddy or whatever?
Yeah,
it
Big
is?
Daddy.
Where he looks like
Adam West.
Where he looks like
inspired.
Batman.
Yeah.
Where he looks like
I remember, yeah.
Christopher Nolan Batman, but he's playing it like Adam West. The best part ever. So we're in a flashback at the
I
moment,
love
guys.
this. I love it. The sexual tension.
Did you feel the sexual tension? Do you think Nicole is sexually tense or him?
I think it's more him. But, but that was a good twist, because it seemed earlier that she was into him and maybe they've had an affair, but here it's revealed that no, it was just all one-sided.
He's a psycho.
Yeah.
Do you watch this scene now with that knowledge in your head and you like kind of see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you do. You can't unsee it. It's kind of. Well, why didn't I see that?
Well, like, why did I not see that this crazy guy was crazy all along?
The film merits a rewatch for that reason.
You see, yeah, exactly. Like, look here, we got this nice little moment in which he's watching her, and you think in the original flashback, oh, this is kind of cute, or oh, he's in love. But now you look at it and go, oh, no, he's crazy, and he's stalking her. And it gives you a nice little payoff to the cigarette lighter being there at the beginning and the cigarette butts, and he's like, oh, he's been doing this for days.
Yeah, and also his unhinged behavior during the whole present day scene just makes even more sense.
Yeah, it does. And who would have guessed that Ben Mendelsohn was the calmest one in the room? It's a twist for Ben to play that kind of role, I know, but he really stretched himself out. I like this concerned cab driver.
Yeah, that was nice.
He was just like, "You sure?" And then he doesn't care enough to follow through. He's like, "All right, you gave me money. Goodbye."
It's nice.
You sure? Thank you.
He looked like Bruce Greenwood, the actor who we've had on a few times.
I know we've had on, but
he just had that grey hair and goatee that Bruce Greenwood has a lot.
Maybe I misremember, but wasn't the taxi driver a bit overweight?
Not Bruce Greenwood. Bruce McGill. Bruce McGill, who was in everyone's favourite movie, Three Fugitives, with Martin Short.
Yeah, he was the
he was the
kidnapper.
gangster.
Yeah,
he was a gangster. So, what is it about Nick Cage that we love? What is it about him? Because you could, like, a lot of people look at him and say he's not a good actor because he is over the top. He's got a monotone voice, and you know his hair always looks terrible. And no matter what movie he's in,
rather than look at like the good bad spectrum, I think it's more fair to say that he's a specialized actor because he in the films that we love of his, like Vampire's Kiss and this, like he's bringing something to it that makes it work.
And G-Force.
And G-Force, of course, the voice. Where if you just got a more normal actor, as Matt was talking about, yeah, it wouldn't have been as interesting. Like, you could definitely have a more normal, fatherly figure in this film. But we have Nick Cage, and he brings what he brings.
He puts in 100% every time.
He does.
Yeah.
He commits.
But have you seen the movies in which he doesn't put in 100%?
Oh, during his tax problem years.
The years in which he owed money for buying illegal dinosaur bones.
Yeah. And castles in...
Yeah, did you not know this?
And you had a comic book collection or something.
Well, he's named after Luke Cage, the comic book character, and he named his son Kal-El or Jor-El or one of the
Superman names.
Yeah.
Kal-El, he's crazy. I love him. But, he bought dinosaur bones that were actually illegal.
Oh my gosh.
But he outbid Leonardo DiCaprio for those bones. So, in fact...
What did Leo want with them?
That's a good question.
sort of key to
We're so enamored by
immortality or
Nicolas
something.
Cage that,
Yeah, you don't think of
getting away with
DiCaprio,
it.
Mr. I'm environmentalist good guy, buying dinosaur
Illegal
bones.
dinosaur bones to... I don't know, some sort of concoction to keep himself young
So...
or something like that.
To improve his acting.
So you guys are older than us, so you've seen very different stages of Nick Cage's career evolve. For us, for our generation, there's this whole prestige of Nick Cage at the moment as being this meme machine.
Yeah.
And basically, for a lot of people our age, it was the National Treasure movies.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
him being like, oh, steal the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
And that in itself,
Yep.
while you guys had more like Face Off and
Yep.
stuff. What's it like to see Nicolas Cage go through these different stages of kind of weird stuff?
I love it, personally. I love it because you get a little bit of everything. He started off as maybe like a character actor.
Yeah.
And
Oscar
Oscar
potential.
shot to stardom when he won his Oscar
Yeah.
for Leaving Las Vegas. There was Kiss of Death before that, the movie Kiss of Death.
I
where he
think
played
when was
David Caruso.
Yeah, when was Moonstruck?
That was definitely before.
Because he got nominated. He didn't win for that Cher one,
Yeah.
didn't she?
Yeah. And
Cher.
now, who directed that? That was
I can't remember. I've only seen it one time, if I'm honest.
yeah. It had Cher in it, right? as
Yeah,
well,
old Sherry Cher.
Yeah, yeah.
When did you know when Thatcher died, Margaret Thatcher? There was a trending hashtag that said Thatcher died, and people read it as that Cher
I
died.
remember that, yes.
And Cher was like, "I am not dead." But yeah, Nicolas Cage has evolved quite a lot. Like
He has,
got,
yeah.
he's gone from different levels of craziness.
Yeah.
Like he's a wacky guy.
All sorts of genres of films as well, from art house to just flat out action. Michael Bay
Yeah. And kids' movies.
and kids movies, yeah, as well.
Yeah, like the National Treasure movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah.
Oh, the best movie ever made. But then you would do weird movies that you've never heard of, like
Yeah.
Pay the Ghost or something.
Yeah.
Definitely haven't heard of that one.
It's a movie in which he has to find his 13-year-old daughter who's been kidnapped by
Oh.
ghosts.
Oh my god, another kidnapping.
He does have
in
a
our
movie
podcast-
upcoming. Yeah.
In our podcast, I'm getting annoyed because all the movies Chris seems to review involve kidnapping of Nick Cage's children or grandchildren or
Wow.
wives or...
Liam Neeson must be furious
I know,
that
yeah,
he's
I
stepping
know.
in on his territory.
Every time
Yeah,
Chris
I
mentions the word kidnapping, I go, oh, another
Here we
one.
go.
I've
Someone
only
got
listened to your first episode, and I think that was one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's been a lot of them.
I've got a big question. Is there a female equivalent of Nicolas Cage?
Oh, that's a good question.
Geez, I'm gonna have to.
It's a tough question, I know.
One doesn't spring to mind immediately.
Melissa McCarthy.
Um,
Oscar-nominated actress, I guess.
Yeah, I wish there was like a female equivalent of him. Like, oh, that crazy chick, she does all the crazy stuff. Like, I just can't think of one, but I wish there was one that you could go, oh yeah, Melissa McCarthy, yeah, sure. Or Glenn Close.
Maybe, yeah.
Glenn
Another
Close.
this year nominated actress.
Yeah, Glenn Close is a good one because she does weird art house stuff, but then she does weird shit like 101 Dalmatians, but also she's a respectable actress. But then she'll do something like Fatal Attraction. Go back and watch Fatal Attraction, and it's like
Yeah.
Nick Cage could have done that performance because it's crazy, it's over
Yeah.
the top. I don't know. I want to see a movie in which Nicolas Cage has a wife that's like the female equivalent of him.
Yeah, that would be very
Where he
nice.
plays his own wife, like
That would be
adaptation, where he
saw
plays his
Nick
own
Cage.
brother.
Nick Cage's real life conflict is he's trying to outdo his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's why he's had
And
three
he
of
thinks
them.
he's still failing.
That's why he has three of them. Like, he's had three wives because he keeps trying to compete with them. He's like, Patricia Arquette, you're down. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, I want to see a movie. My ideal Nicolas Cage movie would be a weird movie. I like his weird ones, like Leaving Las Vegas and Vampire's Kiss and stuff. I want to see a weird movie in which he has to compete against his own wife, who's also weird like him. And you could call it, like, you know how he does a bunch of movies like Mum and Dad, where it just says what they are, or The Weatherman. I just want this one to be Husband v Wife.
Oh, wow. That would be blockbuster.
And the poster is him with that blank expression that he has, doing a mild jog towards the camera. Because you know how he has all those posters?
Yeah.
Where it's like
Explosion
him
behind
mildly
him, yeah.
running, and he's got like that bewildered face on where he's like, huh? So we're getting to the point in which the criminals are kind of losing it. You know, they're kind of losing their streak. The daughters come back.
We're entering the arc of
The Covenant?
no. The narrative arc of Nick Cage being more injured and having to be a bit more subdued.
And also crazy.
Why did he put his jacket around her? I didn't get
Because he put a tracking thing in it. So he put a watch in it that ticks off so that they could find her.
that. Oh, I didn't understand.
If I was her, I would have checked the pockets. But also, she just came back from a party. She knows she kind of pissed off her parents. So her senses aren't all there, guys. You know, when you used to rebel against your parents
all the time.
by going to a friend's house that had a safe.
Yeah.
You know,
Full of cash guns.
it's true.
and drugs.
Sometimes I'd forget that I was being home invaded at the time.
Yeah.
I'd be so distracted by my parents.
I do love that he has a thumbprint thing, and then he kind of wipes his fingers along the keys and then decides to tap, tap, tap.
Yeah.
Did you like the twist, guys? That there was
Yeah.
nothing in there all along?
I did, yes.
But did you like the twist later that when he said, I put the money in the house, he was actually telling
It
the
was
truth?
literally in the house.
literally in the
in
house,
the wall
yeah.
somewhere.
In the walls of, like, where they're renovating the house or putting an extension on the house?
Now, I think you have a different version of the film that we do, because
Yeah.
the titles,
You mean the
subtitles.
subtitles?
the subtitles that we got. Now, of course, the daughter's name is Avery.
Yep.
Yeah, but every time her name comes up in the subtitles, it says A very.
A very. It was two separate words.
A space very.
I think ours was a dodgy. Yeah.
Hey,
a dodgy
Very,
copy.
get out of here!
And it proved to be a little distracting. I managed to put it out of my mind after like the 10th.
Yeah.
Like, I was looking for it for a while, but then I just sort
Yeah.
of managed to.
I don't know why I was watching it with captions on because you can turn them off, Matt. I don't know if you knew that.
Did you know that?
I knew it, but for some reason I just left
Captions
them on
on.
because they automatically came on with
Yeah.
VLC.
Well, we got our copy illegally, we should
Don't
say.
say that, Matt.
Well,
I'll get arrested.
I got it from Dan, so I'm not going to jail. And
Hear that, police? Our loyal listeners, the police.
I just,
Right,
I just flipped on you so quick then, Dan. So
gee.
I apologise.
You know that if you were in a pickle, he would betray you. like he would give you up so quick. He would be like, you would be Ben Mendelsohn, and he would be the psycho brother. He would shoot you in the back, just like that.
See,
If he could get a slice of Nicole Kidman, he would betray you.
I went through legal means. I just had Nick Cage act it all out for me.
Oh yeah, you phoned him up,
Come
and he
to
was
think
like
of it, that
one
was-
man show.
It's a very weird way of watching the film now that I think of it.
No,
Nick
I
Cage
did,
is weird.
I did a little bit of digging up of trivia. Do we know how old Nicolas Cage is?
50?
I will guess and say 56.
He's at least 8.
He's 55, turning 56.
Right, yeah.
Very good, Matt.
How old is Nicole Kidman?
I will take another guess and say she is 48.
Hang on, I'm going to have a guess.
There you go.
I'm going to say 52.
Oh, I was going to guess 52 as well.
Yeah, 51, 52.
Oh,
Really?
Okay.
So this is one of those few movies.
She looks fantastic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she does. This is one of these few movies in which they don't have a large age gap between
yeah.
the male
yeah.
and female star. Because I was actually looking at that, being like, how much older is Nick Cage? Because Nick Cage has been around for ages, and he kind of ages differently to most people. Where like I think there came a point in 1998 where he looked like this, and he's just kind of stayed looking like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's Thin Cage, like really Thin Cage, and
Yeah.
stuff like Moonstruck and
Yep.
Leaving Las Vegas, and then there's Baby Fat Nick
Yeah.
Cage,
Yeah, yeah.
where he's got jowls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the dinosaur bones. It's done something to his DNA.
I
You ran out of
thought,
dinosaur
I
bones.
thought you said like he has dinosaur bones in him.
Oh,
He's just that
No.
old.
is that why he's buying them? Because he was transplanting them. He was slowly
maybe that's
replacing
what
his
it is.
It's
skeleton.
actually, you know when you're a baby and you have more bones and you kind of lose them because they fuse together?
Yeah.
What happened was when he was a little baby Triceratops, they fell
Just like
out.
Matilda.
They fell out,
Yeah.
and he actually was just buying his own bones back. That's it, because Nicolas Cage is thousands of years old.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of years
He's a
old.
dinosaur. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I could imagine him playing a dinosaur.
That would be cool. He might probably do a voice for a dinosaur. Or
Yeah,
some kids
wasn't
movie.
he in
He
one
was
of
in The
those?
Croods.
I was gonna say, wasn't he in the Croods,
was the
which
he
is
was
a
the dad in The
caveman
Croods.
movie?
What's the film with Whoopi Goldberg where she's a cop and her partner is a
Oh,
dinosaur?
you mean
Theodore Rex?
Theodore Rex?
Theodore Rex.
The movie
Yeah.
where she's a cyborg.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that in my life.
God damn.
Okay, fun fact about
Yeah.
Theodore Rex was she did not want to do the movie,
Oh.
but they said that she made a verbal contract, which doesn't actually hold much water, because she knew the producer and he said, I have this idea for a movie, would you want to do a movie with me? And she said, oh yeah, sure, if it's good. And then they threatened to sue her for $90 million if she
Jeez.
didn't do Theodore Rex. So she had to do Theodore Rex or lose a shit ton of money. So that's why if you watch it, she looks like she doesn't want to be there.
Oh, wow.
But the saddest thing is, she still does a great job because she's an A-grade Oscar-winning actress.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen that. I remember the dinosaurs were just basically suits were borrowed from that show, The Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
No way.
That's
What,
right.
the Disney show?
I'm pretty sure.
Dinosaurs. Not
Yeah.
the mama. Not the mama.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
So the thing, I love Theodore Rex because it's so stupid. Like, I've seen it twice and it gets better every time.
Yeah.
It's just the most awful product ever made, and Whoopi Goldberg doesn't want to be there, and she's a
Wow.
cyborg, but they kind of don't make it make sense that
Yeah.
she's a cyborg, because there's just one point where she gets shot and she just sparks, and they're like, oh, she's a cyborg.
I could check that out. Hey, do you reckon Nick Cage and Nicole Kidman would get along well? Do you reckon they like sat and had lunch together? And
Well,
He's a professional.
and they've worked
He's
together.
a professional. He from all accounts, I don't, from people in Melbourne who have worked on.
Oh, yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
he's done a few films in Melbourne, and
yeah,
Oh, you don't
people
say.
I've talked to. He is a consummate professional.
Yeah.
He was always kind. He carries a crew of at least 10 to 15 hairstylists with him wherever he goes. But he is
To
extremely
glue- to
friendly.
glue it on, yeah.
He's extremely friendly and very professional.
yeah. I'd
Yeah.
love to overhear, just be a fly on the wall when they're having lunch and hear what they talk
There's
about.
so many weird stories about Nicolas Cage. Like I can't remember. I was watching one of those. There's one of these videos online. There's this channel online that has like actors discussing their greatest roles,
Most iconic roles.
most
Yeah.
iconic roles. I have Nick Cage talking about his stuff. Obviously, that during Face Off, he wanted to talk more about Vampire's Kiss, but you could clearly tell that they said you're not allowed to talk about it because that's his favorite role he's ever done.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
But like there was some actor, I can't remember which one it was. It was someone who did like a Dracula movie, and Nicolas Cage wanted to be Dracula, but then he didn't do it, and he got this person to be Dracula, and he was doing it as a producer role, and he was like, hey, here's an idea for what you could do for Dracula. How about you do it on rollerblades? And then he was just like, I had to argue with him. That was a stupid idea. And then
Well, it
he
can't
never
be.
brought
His
it up
uncle-
again.
His uncle directed a Dracula film.
Yes, the greatest Keanu Reeves movie ever made, in which Keanu had to do an English accent for Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula.
And Dracula was Gary Oldman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Van Helsing was Anthony Hopkins.
Was De Niro in that?
No, I
Did
hope
De Niro
not.
play Frankenstein at one? Am I?
No, he
tripping?
did play Frankenstein in his own movie of Frankenstein.
Right.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Right. I'm getting
And
those confused.
you wonder how Robert De Niro sounded as Frankenstein when he got to talk. He said, "Hey, Master." He sounded exactly like Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
The best role ever,
Yeah.
of Robert De Niro. We haven't seen him since our last movie, Shark Tale,
been a whole
in
week.
which he played an Italian Jewish gangster because he literally says "Oy vey." So this movie has a cavalcade of gangster, criminal, home invader characters. Other than Ben Mendelsohn, who did we enjoy in his crew? Bartek, I know you love the crackhead woman, so we don't need to hear you.
I eventually remembered she existed.
Well, I enjoyed this guy.
Yeah, the redhead guy.
This
Big-
guy here.
Big boy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoyed
big
Big
guy.
boy. Yeah. He didn't
played-
have a name. He was called Big Boy.
Well, they called him the big guy.
Yeah.
Big
The
guy.
big guy.
I thought he was great. Actually.
Yeah, I remembered him because he used to be in a TV show which I love, Felicity, back in the 90s.
What is Felicity?
Felicity was J.J. Abrams' TV show about a
my
girl in
favorite,
college.
my favorite person,
Yep.
J.J. Abrams,
It's-
whom I
it's-
despise.
It's
but go on.
very soapy, which I love. That
So
stuff,
it was about a girl in college.
Yeah, and
whose
she
name
loved-
was Felicity.
Yeah, she loved these two guys.
Okay, was he
Um,
one of them?
No, he worked at the local bar and was friends with one of them.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
Who was Felicity? Was
Kerry
she...
Russell?
Kerry Russell.
Yeah,
We've
that
had
was
her
her
on the
first big
show.
break. Yeah,
Well, Sheen.
I can't remember, but we've had her.
she's amazing.
Seemingly always plays a waitress. Every film I've seen her.
Waitress. Is
Oh, you
one of
mean
films
the
that she's
movie
in.
Waitress?
That's really
Yeah.
good. That one.
The waitress,
Yeah.
where the director of that film couldn't finish the movie because she got brutally
No,
murdered.
she died.
She got brutally murdered
thought
by
she-
her.
The director
So-
did.
Yeah, of the waitress. She didn't get to fully finish the film because she got murdered by a gardener.
What?
Yeah.
Holy
I thought she had
shit, I didn't-
cancer. I didn't realize that.
And now it's a musical.
Is it?
Stage
Oh
musical.
my gosh.
Yeah. Because everything's a stage musical.
learning so
Heathers
much.
is a stage musical.
Yeah. Yeah. Harry Potter's. A
Adam's
stage musical.
Family is a musical.
Oh my gosh.
Will we see Trespass the musical?
That would be interesting.
I'd love to see
Well,
it.
it's only one set, so that would
Will
be good.
Nicolas Cage play Avery?
He's known for that. He's known for wanting to play other characters. Like in Mandy.
Mandy.
Yeah, he wanted to play.
He wanted to play the cult guy.
Yeah, he wanted to play the cult guy, but they
They said
talked
no.
him. Yeah. I mean, you
They're
want
like,
him to
you
be the
play
lead,
Red.
just for like you said, the poster. You need Nicolas Cage on the poster,
Yeah.
so you got to have him be the main protagonist.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage. He's a yeah. Would you want to see this as a musical, Bartek, where Ben Mendelsohn comes in and he's like doing jazz tap fingers and he's just like, negotiations are mine, and then Nick Cage is like, I'm in charge of the negotiations.
There are definitely
little diamonds. They're like rocks.
there are definitely little moments I would definitely like to see in like a musical format.
I would like the song "They're Just Shiny Rocks" or "Shiny Rock," and it's played like David Bowie glam rock, like in Moana, the movie. How out of nowhere there's like a David Bowie psychedelic
the
song
shiny-
sung by the villain, because
not the main villain, but he's
a villain,
in one scene. Yeah.
yeah, but more villainous than the actual villain. But like, it comes out of nowhere. I would like that in a musical that's more like your Broadway musical where they have like Nicolas Cage singing about money. Money.
I could see a musical of this having like a lot of focus on like the party scene or like she's a bad influence on you or something like that.
I would love a
Yeah,
scene in
that'd
which
be
it's
cool.
Nicole Kidman's talking about just wanting to be boned. Because throughout this whole movie, her big conflict is she hasn't been fucked in a while.
Yeah,
And
actually,
if
I
you
totally
are
forgot about
married
that.
to Nicole Kidman, Keith Urban, I'm talking to you, make sure to fuck Nicole because
They have a nice
she
sex
has high standards.
Set a reminder on your phone.
Yeah.
If there's anything to learn from this episode, it's
Fuck Nicole.
specific person do specific thing.
Yeah.
When you said that, of course, I immediately thought of that shot, which never is really referenced again. I thought it was going to come back, but again, was probably another red herring, where she has some brand new undies.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's because it was showing that
And-
she had an idea for a sexy night
Yeah,
that
she was
night,
gonna
but
have a date night.
Nick Cage was just like, I need diamonds.
Yeah,
Obsessed with his diamonds.
And she's like, well, you're not going to have...
insatiable lust for diamonds instead of Nicole Kidman's vagina.
Instead of Nicole Kidman's diamond.
Yeah.
Well, if Nicole Kidman,
Oh, wait, wait.
I love this.
Oh,
I
he's
love
the
it
bit.
so much.
Yeah.
It's the
Oh, look how playful there. Look
Oh,
at the playful look
There's
there.
two Nicole Kidmans on screen at the same time.
Oh, wait, it's going to come up. She comes up in a little bubble.
There you go. There you go. Bubble Nicole.
That's going to be the thumbnail I use.
First year film school. I love it.
Here's,
Oh,
the
that's
problem.
brilliant.
Here's the problem too. There's that little joke inside your brain that Nicole Kidman has a big forehead. Like that's one of the things people
Yeah.
point out. And putting it in its own little bubble
Oh.
doesn't help. Doesn't help. In this movie, they try to cover up her big forehead with her having like a fringe and bangs,
Yeah.
and it's all messy. In
Well, her
front
hair's
of
great in this. You mentioned her hair
Yeah.
before, but right now thinking about it, didn't think about it, even think about it before, but her hair is great in this.
it changes too.
Yeah, well, she's getting
Changes
sweaty.
characters.
They
Sweaty,
hit,
yeah.
they hit her. Hey, you know what I loved about this movie? the bad guys weren't pussies. They actually hit the woman and child.
Yeah.
In movies like this, they always find a concoct a way not to.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they're always like, no, we can't do that because that would show that we're bad guys. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the point. That's the point. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is more movies need to kill women and children and hurt them. That's what I'm saying at the end of the day.
Being the passive one, I have to disagree.
But only passively, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you resigned in your disagreement. You're like, well, I wouldn't say that you would need that.
By default, you disagree, but you can be convinced.
You could be convinced.
If-
like
yeah,
if
if it
I,
helps the story.
if it helps the story, then yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Is-
like in the new Halloween movie, Michael Myers doesn't kill children, but why wouldn't he? He kills everyone and everything.
Yeah.
Why not?
Is there ever a point in this film where either Nick Cage or Nicole Kidman leave the house but then come back?
I think Nicole
Yes.
does.
Nicole gets in the car at
Yeah.
one point, doesn't
Yeah,
she?
she
And
gets
stopped
in
in
the
the
car.
driveway.
Right, that's right.
They also go to the extension of the house, and the nail gun doesn't work, and they bring him and the daughter back in. Nicole Kidman is left running outside for a little bit. She tries to get into the garage by doing the numbers, but then Ben Mendelsohn grabs her and is like, haha, I'm here, I'm Ben.
Right.
I did like randomly halfway through the movie that Ben Mendelsohn kind of wanted to fuck Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, there was that sort of,
Yeah,
that
that really.
one bit, wasn't there, in the kitchen, right?
It's getting a bit random.
Joel
Sexually
Schumacher.
aggressive.
Joel Schumacher is an incredibly gay man in real life, and a
Oh, is
lot of
he?
his films come off as very homoerotic. Lost Boys
Yeah.
and
Batman
Batman,
and
and
Robin,
Robin,
yeah.
in which he had
Yeah.
I
bat
love that.
nipples
I love that.
and the bat ass,
And George Clooney specifically was playing Batman gay, apparently.
apparently. So when in this movie, his whole entire thematic issue is someone or everyone wants to fuck Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
It comes across very interesting from a gay filmmaker's perspective of saying, hey, Nicole Kidman needs a hard fuck. in
Well,
this
again,
movie.
Ryan, her conflict is that one specific person isn't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And then one does want to, and that's a problem because
Because he's
he's
creepy.
crazy.
And she's married.
And she's a married lady. I did like that. Ben Mendelsohn randomly is like, I want to fuck you. And he doesn't even know that his brother hasn't
Yeah.
fucked her. He thinks he has because he takes his brother's word, but oh, little did he know the brother didn't take meds. Oh, here goes the action sequence. He threw a chair, everyone.
That was amazing.
Threw it pretty far, too.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if this was made today, in which, today's action movies or things, there always needs to be like explosions more. Slow-mo or a beam in the sky.
Yeah.
And at the end there would be a post-credit stinger where
Yeah.
like Ben Mendelsohn's hand comes out of the flames and he's
Yeah.
just like scarred and burned and he's like, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's a
Yeah.
kind of a trend
Yeah.
now with these movies. Like, Bartek mentioned it briefly. We did a movie called Sleepless, and that movie ends with, like, a stinger. Or another great movie that's really worth checking out. If you guys haven't seen it, it's so great. It's called Unforgettable. We did it on the show. It's got Rosario Dawson
Yes.
and Katherine Heigl. And Katherine Heigl's mum is Cheryl Ladd in the movie. You're the one
Does
who...
she play an obsessed? Is it the
Yeah,
one where she
she's like
plays
a
an
crazy woman.
ex-wife or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
ex-wife.
right, yeah.
And
yeah.
her mum's Cheryl Ladd, who, for people who don't know, was the one who replaced Farrah Fawcett in
on the Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels. And Cheryl Ladd's her own actress. Like, she isn't just the one who replaced her. Like, she's her own great actress. In that movie, spoiler alert, Katherine Heigl gets killed at the end. She stabs herself with a knife.
You can't look. I was going to interrupt you there and say that makes me extremely happy.
I
'cause
knew that
he-
you'd say that.
But then...
I'm not a
He
fan.
hates
But then
Heigl.
here's the
Not a
twist.
fan.
The movie ends, and then the movie comes back again for a mid-credit scene
Yeah.
in which someone rings the doorbell, and then they look out, like Rosario Dawson goes outside, doesn't see anyone, goes down the driveway, she sees some college kids, goes back inside, the dog's barking, she turns around, and there's Cheryl Ladd standing there, and she's like... Grandma's home, and Rosario Dawson's like, oh my god, that's the best sequel bait
Wow.
ever. Could you
Yeah.
imagine the psycho thriller of Grandma?
Yeah.
Of
That sounds
Grandma
really
coming
interesting,
around, Cheryl Ladd as Grandma.
Yeah.
Watch out, Grandma's home. Like, I love the idea of like a serial killer movie, and it's
Yeah.
Betty White or someone, like
That
a
would be
really
Yeah,
old
yeah,
lady who's really sweet. The only real old lady actress I could think of that could be genuinely intimidating as like a mean serial killer old lady is Cloris Leachman.
Cloris Leachman. Yeah.
She's scary looking.
Wasn't the
Maybe Kathy
film...
Bates, maybe.
Oh, no, it
But
wasn't
she's not as old as you
She's
would
not
want her
as
to
old.
be.
How old is she?
She's like in her 60s, I would say.
Yeah.
She still looks like Kathy Bates, though.
Yeah.
Like, she still looks like she could do Misery today.
Yeah.
Even though she's less fat. Like, you know,
Yeah.
the part of the charm of Misery is how tubby and how innocent she looks. And then she's like, no, I'll break your feet. Take that, James Caan. Bartek,
Yes.
what was the most tense moment in this film for you? What made your butthole pucker?
No. Falling from a great height makes me pucker my butthole.
Oh, okay.
Roger Ebert reviewed this film.
And that was the most tense moment. Was esteemed film critic
Really,
Roger
ooh,
Ebert.
What will he think?
He gave it 2 out of 4. So
wow.
Out of 4? Why is he only rated out of 4?
he always rates out of 4.
Oh.
He always rated out of 4,
Okay.
I should say. And at one point he mentions that, when the guns are aimed at people the first time, it was tense because, oh no, someone could get killed. But for him, the fact that a gun was going to be aimed at someone and no one was going to get killed eventually became, a sticking point for him because, there's so much gun aiming in this film, but no one gets shot.
But they do shoot Nick in his leg.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I disagree with that notion because I think every time the gun was pointed, even though obviously if you kill someone, their character's gone and the story's going to be halted.
Unless Nicolas Cage gets like a resurrection stone or something.
But I felt like the threat was always there. It was always tense. I felt
Yeah,
like anyone could have died at any moment, even though like no one does until the climax.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
See,
probably.
I agree. This sequence here was the most tense for me, where the daughter has to convince Saul Goodman's secretary
Yeah.
that they're fine.
Yeah,
I
she
thought
did a
that-
good job.
She did a great job. They both did. Like you could see the journey that the Saul Goodman's secretary goes through of kind of being like, I don't believe
Yeah.
this, to then being like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, oh, whatever. Kids be kids, right?
The I Deserve to Die sequence was also pretty tense because it
Yeah.
also kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, it's because Nicolas Cage. See, Bartek, it's a.
He's not in that sequence, Burke.
No, what I'm saying is Nicolas Cage parallels because he has the I want to die sequence in this movie throughout.
Okay, I was talking about Ben Mendelsohn and Nicole Kidman in the kitchen.
Yeah. What I'm saying is there's a parallel there because Nick Cage throughout this movie is going on this suicidal tendency and it's now infiltrating the rest of the family and the criminals themselves. Because at the end of the movie, he's just like, you'll get a bunch of insurance for my death, basically, because
He's worth more
He's
dead.
worth more dead.
Yeah.
he's worth more
down the line,
dead. He basically, it's Death of a Salesman. You remember Death of a Salesman? Well, the whole point of Death of a Salesman is he can't get any money. He's a crappy salesman, and he kills himself for the funeral for the insurance. But the irony, the tragedy is the family don't get any money because it was a suicide. Oh, and that's kind of like, yeah, and there's like parallels between this and that, where Nicolas Cage comes across like he's this
Well, there we
powerful.
see Nick Cage getting one right in the thigh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh
your
yeah,
train of thought
right,
there.
right near his. Well, it was probably near his dick because
Yeah.
we all know Nick Cage has a big dick, right?
dick.
Like
Yes.
he's like an elephant.
That's what I've heard.
That's what everyone's heard.
Yeah.
Like we all know Big Dick Cage is his real name.
Gotta get a big cock cage for him.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he called himself Cage. He has to cage it up. Yeah, like I found that whole phone sequence very intense. What about you guys? What scene really, made your palms sweaty?
The final one for me, the final. I know we're not there yet. Maybe we
Yeah.
can talk about it a bit more when it comes up. But it was the final one in the extension. Probably
Yeah.
was the one where I wasn't I was like, okay, I know from the running time. We're near the end. I don't know who's going to make it here. Is
Yeah.
it going to be him? Is it going to be? That was the bit for me.
And then when a nail gun gets involved.
Yeah. But as you were saying about the tension before, I think Joel Schumacher, again, to talk about him, he does an excellent job of maintaining that tension in one location, which is really hard to do. He directed Phone Booth as well, right?
Oh.
I think
with
he
Colin
did,
Farrell, and that is another movie in one location, even smaller than this one, that has terrific tension all the way through it as well.
Yeah, that is true. Phone Booth is a decent little
Yeah.
movie. Nice little shocky movie. But is it as good as Phantom of the Opera? With everyone's favourite romantic leading man, Gerard Butler. Who is like UK equivalent of Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Oh, nowhere near as talented in my just for my 2 cents.
Excuse
but-
me, have you not seen Gerard Butler in any movie ever?
I've seen Geostorm.
You mean to say it Geostorm because the movie is written, the title's written, the name Geostorm's written in all caps.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like when you look it up, it's in all caps.
No
So you can't just
exclamation
say it like Geostorm. You have to say Geostorm. A movie in which he is a scientist.
Yeah. And they routinely fly up to space to control the weather. What? Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's a bit in Geostorm where they have to explain why he has his Scottish accent.
Oh.
Or his accent. He goes, I was born in the UK. But he was raised in America.
Like groundskeeper
But he
Willie.
was raised in America. Oh, Gerard Butler. I love him. He's like one of my favorite actors because he always plays Gerard Butler, but no one else
He
can.
was in Gods of Egypt, right?
Yeah, he played bad guy.
He played Egyptian Jared Butler.
He didn't do any accent.
Yeah.
He tried to. He saw Brian Brown and tried to mimic his accent.
Now, he was recently in a submarine. I love submarine movies.
Who, Gerard Butler or Brian Brown?
Jared Butler, where he plays a submarine.
That was a
He
submarine.
plays a submarine.
He
He plays the actual submarine.
He's down
Opening
in the,
scene, people are boarding the submarine, boarding.
where he opens his mouth for them to get in.
The submarine version of Meet Dave.
Yeah, yeah.
In a space?
Inner Space. I always mention Inner Space.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Where Gerard Butler's injected into Martin Short. Look, I'll be honest. Gerard Butler's the modern day Dennis Quaid,
Yeah, I could
except
say, yeah.
for he hasn't done Enemy Mine,
No.
which is one of
Oh,
the
wow.
greatest movies ever.
God, man, I haven't seen that since VHS.
Oh, it's so good. You need to
Yeah.
watch it again. Enemy Mine's a great sci-fi movie that people overlook, and Lou Gossett Jr. gives a great performance as an alien.
Yeah. I mean, there was a TV show of that too,
I'm
right?
pretty sure.
Yeah.
But oh boy, this movie, Trespass, guys. Did it live up to the title? Did they trespass?
Well,
Very
yes.
early on.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
did they let them in?
Well, yeah, he was very dumb, I thought, to just open the gate without looking at the security camera.
So-
Well, he
But
did, and
you
he
see
saw
you see a police badge.
Yeah,
Did he?
yes,
Yeah.
but you don't see their faces.
So, Ryan, are you saying that this film should have been called Impersonating a Police Officer?
No, I thought you were
Let's Be
gonna. I
Cops,
thought you were
maybe?
gonna say the title of the Polish one
Anatomy of Fear.
is called Anatomy of Fear. Yeah, should this movie have
Anatomia
been
Strachu.
Let's Be Cops? The
Except not a comedy.
except
Played
well,
totally, yeah.
some people would say that Let's Be Cops wasn't funny. So. Take that, Damon Wayne's son, who's in that movie. Yeah, this is an interesting movie because it's got one of those movie titles that is just a one-word title that's
Yeah.
very generic.
Yeah.
Trespass.
think
This
it's
movie
too
could have been,
generic.
but at the same time, sometimes a generic title can be great because it makes you have a sense of security. Then you watch the movie and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Like Kidnap.
like Kidnap, where the movie's called Kidnap because someone gets kidnapped, and you're
A
like,
kid gets snapped.
it's simple, but
Yeah.
it didn't lie to
Yeah.
me. It's not like movies where their title is a lie, like, you know, those kind of movies where it's like, yeah, we're gonna call it Deer Hunter, but it has nothing really to do with deer hunting, and you're like, well, liar, or you know, stuff like that.
Do you have an alternative title? What would be a good title? Dan, what about you?
Other than
was the Polish one again?
Other than Anatomy of Fear,
Yeah.
Anatomia
What-
Strachu.
what would you call this movie?
Oh, okay. Oh god, put it on the spot.
Impersonating a police
tension,
officer.
tension in the house. I don't know. It just needs
And it
something
stars,
better.
and it stars
That's for an
Ice,
erotic thriller.
and it stars Ice-T.
yeah, Ice T and Ice Cube, just so you don't get them
And,
confused.
and
And
as
Vanilla
the
Ice.
daughter, Tone Loc.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why it didn't go so well at the cinema, because people just saw the title and went, that just sounds
And you got
generic."
Nicolas Cage with glasses, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want him with glasses.
Yeah, it just needs something a bit more exciting.
I would have called this movie something along the lines of them, like something along the lines with diamonds in it, like
Oh yes, yes.
like, you know,
Diamond in the Rough.
Diamond in the Rough would actually be pretty good, but you spell it like rough, like the noise the dog makes, and it has a picture of a dog on the poster.
That's what was missing from this. They needed a pet. They needed to have a dog.
Oh
No,
yeah,
yeah,
and
that's a
the
good
crazy
point.
guy
Yeah.
kills the dog,
Oh,
and then
God, actually,
people,
no, I don't
and
wanna
then
see
people
that.
at home will be like, "Oh no,
No,
not the doggy!"
no.
Yeah.
And then you know the bad guys are bad because they killed a puppy.
Yeah.
The
And then
aim-
Keanu Reeves is loading up his gun next door because I feel like John Wick lives
John Wick
next
lives-
door,
yeah, yeah,
next door to
definitely, yeah.
these guys.
Yeah.
And he's just
Same
loading up
neighborhood,
his gun, and
definitely.
he's just like, killing puppies. I'm not up for that.
Yeah.
Chick, chick, chick.
Who's this dude? Is he? He looks familiar.
I did not actually look. He was one of the few I didn't look
Oh.
up. I think he was in the TV show Felicity. As,
He probably was.
as
This is a security
Felici-
guard
as
for anyone who's not
Felicity.
watching.
He played Felicity. there.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought that's why he looked familiar.
I'm still puzzled that you liked the show Felicity.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Well, yeah.
And I
No,
feel like
it's-
I
like-
need to
I
know
like
why
things-
you liked it.
I like things that most people don't like. That's
Like?
like crappy
Felic-
sitcoms and
Trespass,
soap operas and
unfortunately.
shows from the 90s. A lot of TV shows from the 90s. If you want shows from the 90s, listen to our podcast.
Well, fair enough.
Warwick Moss. What else are we mentioning lately? Merlin from Big Brother.
Yeah,
Yes, but those are more 2000s.
Yeah, that was
That's
the early
true, yeah.
2000s.
When are you going to cover that TV show Newlyweds with
Oh!
Jessica Simpson and
Oh,
that guy?
I think you're talking about Newlyweds with the woman who used to be in Neighbours. And remember that?
Oh,
Like
the blonde
sitcom from
lady.
yeah. Anyway, that
When
was
are you going to cover the Australian sitcom that I feel like only I remember, which is Sit Down, Shut
Shut
Up,
Up
with
The-
Stephen
well,
Curry?
And did you know that that was made into an animation in the US?
Oh
They
my
bought the rights
Lord.
to that about 20 years after the crappy 90s sitcom. And
I actually
turned it
remember
into an
liking the
animation.
Australian sitcom because that show's about teachers
Yeah.
being assholes and Stephen Curry. But
Yeah,
like,
and also Matthew Newton was in it
yeah,
as the main character, I think.
no, it was Stephen Curry. Pretty sure.
Maybe they're both in it. Yeah.
Look, they look the same. Stephen Curry was Vince Colosimo in it. That's the big question.
I don't. Ooh.
Is it really an Australian product if Vince
Yeah.
Colosimo
You need a
doesn't
Vince
turn up?
Colosimo. These days you need Asher Keddy or
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You need Asher
Yeah.
Keddy to turn
Yeah.
up, or there's that other woman that's the blonde lady.
the one who's in all the ABC shows.
Miss Fisher,
and,
is it?
No, and Place to Call Home.
Yeah.
Dusseldorp. No, what's her name?
There's that, I can't remember. There was this woman, and she had this whole
Marta
TV show.
Dusseldorp.
To get an Australian TV for a second, people,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I know that's gripping. There was this show that Channel 9 was like, this is our flagship show. It's about police people on boats.
Oh,
And we used real boats.
Water rats.
Water Rats. Is that what? You
No,
mean?
no, this
Oh,
one was
Sea
like
Patrol.
Sea Patrol.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
it was like the woman from that was like Asher Keddy before she turned up.
Yeah, Gold Logie winning. She's in that sitcom
Who's
with
that?
Peter Hellier.
Oh, Lisa McCune.
Lisa McCune.
Lisa
Yeah,
McCune.
yeah.
Lisa McCune.
Yeah.
I've got to ask, while we're on Australian TV, being Polish, were you fans of the kids' TV show Spellbinder, which was filmed in Poland? Or was that
I can't
before
remember.
your era?
I can't remember this one.
It
What
like
was it about?
Mid-90s. It was about this girl, or a boy who accidentally went to a parallel world
Oh.
where the Spellbinders
Relatable.
ruled, and they had these electromagnetic suits that they used to like shoot electricity at
I
people.
kind of do remember this a little.
And then he had to try and find a way back to our world.
Was our world not Poland?
Our world was Australia.
So
It's filmed
Bartek,
in Poland.
Half of it was. Yeah, the Spellbinder world was Poland.
so Bartek, did you know Poland is a spellbinder world? You've been there. Can you confirm?
there were lots of castles. Does that sound like Poland?
I mean, I visited a Polish castle.
Yeah.
Was it spellbinding? I said
It's a
it.
bit orange.
It was a bit
Orange.
orange. So just to
I was
briefly
busy watching actual Polish cartoons.
To briefly talk
Ah.
about your podcast, guys.
Yeah.
Just to talk, because we're on the topic of you guys covering stuff. You guys, your podcast kind of covers a lot of things.
We have it's
Yeah.
hard to nail it down into one sentence, our podcast, because
I wanna be
we have
like-
a lot of different segments.
Yeah, you guys talk. Sometimes you interview people.
Yep, yep.
Recently, you interviewed helicopter
Traffic reporter.
Traffic reporter.
Jess Miller, yeah.
Yep, who does the sunrise traffic in the mornings.
Does she
Um,
talk directly to Koshi?
No, unfortunately, no, I don't think so. We didn't ask her what. Yeah, I meant to ask her. You
You
know,
should
what's
have
coffee
asked
like?
her
Yeah, yeah.
if her
No.
best friend is living penis.
Unfortunately.
Koshi.
But we have a lot of different segments. We do Cinema Cage Watch, where Chris reviews Nick Cage
Nick
movies.
Cage film.
And
Yep.
you guys go, really? That what happened? And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah.
yeah, because I've never heard of any of them. And then we have Stu doing Snack Watch, which is obviously snack reviews.
Yeah.
I like to play TV themed quizzes where Matt has to guess what the TV show
Which
themes are.
which one of you goes delving into Instagram?
Oh, that's
Oh,
me,
that's-
yeah.
that's Dan.
Instaslam. That's my Instagram segment where I give you the latest Instagram news.
Yeah.
And what's your segment, Matt? Explain your segment.
Oh, I do a segment called the shit list, which is basically the top 3 things that shitted me during
Makes
the week.
him angry. That's
Yeah,
why he's
yeah.
aggressive.
You got
And-
any updates for us for this episode? What's some shitty things
What's
that happened
coming up
to
in
you?
our
Careful,
next one.
Ryan.
Well,
You might be on it.
Yeah, slight spoilers for the next one, but maybe there might be something to do with animal attacks.
Oh.
I'm a big fan of animals attacking humans. I don't know if you, if you know this.
I'm also a big
Because-
fan of this.
Because
It's a niche subject.
my basic view is humans are trash and we deserve it. So, so I love it when someone gets attacked. And recently there was a jaguar attack. I
Oh, I
believe
did hear
in,
about that.
in America. That's probably going to feature.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it shitted you. Oh wow, I love
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I love with you guys too. Yeah, you guys really delve into talking about just random Australian
Yes.
things like
Yeah.
That's my influence mainly.
yeah, and or Robot Wars.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Like like I love having like I talk to my fiance trying to remind her about Australian things that Australian TV tried to force us. Like, do you guys remember there was that time where Australia decided for 2 days to do Saturday Night Live? They tried to do a version of Saturday Night Live which was like This Week Live or something like that, and had Colin Lane and all of these reels.
Oh, yeah, I do
things.
remember that. Yeah.
And it only lasted 2 episodes, and it was so horrible that they immediately expunged it
Yeah,
from
I totally
Australian
forgot about
history.
that, yeah.
Or Australia. This is how great Australian TV is. We tried to make Bingo like this
Yeah,
exciting
yeah. I
game
remember
show that was
Yeah.
on prime time, and then they got rid of it because it was rigged.
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, geez.
Yeah, oh, it was a big thing. It was like, did you know that Channel 7's
Oh,
Bingo
no.
night was actually pre-taped and rigged, and you couldn't actually win because you were supposed to play it along at home?
That's right. You had to get the Herald Sun to get your
Yeah, or
coupon whatever.
printed off their website
yeah.
and
Right,
stuff
yeah.
and like that. Or we live in a time in which we've seen Andrew O'Keefe upgrade quiz shows.
Yeah.
He's actually like people make fun of him, but he's pretty amazing.
I mean, he is
how-
Johnny O'Keefe's nephew.
Exactly.
So
Well, yeah, he's actually a long lost relative of me because
who isn't?
I think my everyone I think my mum's third cousin or something was Johnny O'Keefe.
Well, I come from the town where Johnny O'Keefe, the rock
Oh.
musician, crashed his car.
Where's that?
Kempsey,
Oh,
New South Wales.
okay.
And his manager died, and he also nearly died, and it caused him into a spiral of depression.
Oh, geez.
So I come from that town that causes one of Australia's best rock musicians to feel depressed.
Wow.
So that's a nice experience.
Well, I come from a family that listened to Johnny O'Keefe once.
Oh, really?
Once.
That's nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, you come from Ballarat.
I do. I come from
Roger
Ballarat.
that.
I've heard the name Johnny O'Keefe one time,
Oh, now we should the foreshadowing that
Yes.
we talked about before.
which
the movie
is
payoff,
the
yes.
Polish culture finally gets its revenge. There's a Pole. The one Polish citizen is like, that's not the
Yeah.
title, and takes out the drug addict. Because also Poland, no to drugs. Isn't that right, Bartek? We're very no to drugs.
Yeah.
Also to women's rights,
Wearing seatbelts.
wearing seatbelts,
Boy.
you know, nice tasting water.
Yeah.
Very conservative.
Yeah. What's that thing with water you've told me about? Like
Oh, they're obsessed with
carbonated water.
Ah.
Which is like, hey, do you want water but that sucks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's very
do
big
not
these
get it.
days here as well. Everyone's having it.
I got a text randomly the other night from a friend of mine just talking about Polish culture. I got a text randomly saying, my mum wants to know, do you like cabbage? And I'm thinking to myself, I haven't eaten that much cabbage.
Do you
but,
like kapusta?
But hold on
Oh,
to that thought. I just went, I'm not the world's biggest fan of cabbage. And then I got a text back being like, well, my mum is stereotyping Polish people right now because apparently they are the world's biggest fan of cabbage.
Wow.
Is that a fact, Bartek? Is that a fact that we love cabbages? And cabbage? Is that like our biggest cuisine?
I don't know if it's biggest, but now that you mention, I do notice a lot of cabbage in like Christmas meals and stuff.
Well, that's just in general.
and I do know the Polish word for cabbage, which I don't know all Polish words, but I know that one.
But
What is
then he just
Kapusta. Yeah.
kapuska.
Kapusta.
Yeah, kapusta. Kapusi. No,
Sounds like it'd be like a Russian swear. Oh, kapusta.
because then he was like, I'm at a Polish restaurant right now in Melbourne. I'm like, we have one of those.
There's one in Dandenong.
And I was just like, good luck. Polish food is pretty bland. Good luck.
I hate Polish food.
And then I got a text back being like, we'll defy that legend of it being bland. And then I got no text back to confirm that they defied it. And then I phoned him and he's like, oh, no, it was pretty bland. Because Polish food is lame.
Yeah.
But a Polish sausage is pretty good, though, right?
Oh, but any
Oh, I guess,
sausage is
yeah.
pretty good.
Well, that's true.
The Polish is the language that has kielbasa for sausage, which everyone knows apparently.
Yeah, well, that's a famous. But as we're talking about famous scenes, we find out that the crazy brother was crazy all along.
Yeah, and
Who would have thought?
And Felicity's friend's bartender just bit the dust
Oh, poor
Did
guy.
you shed a tear?
No, he was a
Wait,
bit evil in this side.
Wait, but were you like, I remember Felicity?
I think he was a bit of a prick in. Oh, can I swear? In
Yeah,
Felicity
no, fuck,
as well.
you can't swear.
the fuck are you doing,
I don't
Dan?
normally
You
swear
can't
like
swear.
that. Yeah, he was. I think he might have been. Yeah, a bit angry in Felicity. So
You don't like angry
no,
characters?
no, because I'm
You're
passive.
passive.
This film's full of angry characters, but you loved it.
But don't you like passive-aggressive characters?
No. We should put a slash in between.
Oh,
passive
just make it
aggressive to
clear.
make it clearer.
Right, yeah.
No,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
It should be passive plus sign.
Oh,
Aggressive.
that's a good idea.
Passive plus
Passive plus
aggressive,
aggressive.
equals podcast.
Yes, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie they start killing the bad guys,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is just so upsetting.
As we learned from the IMDb trivia, Ryan, this film has a body count of 5.
That's
good to know.
That is good to know.
I think it's the trespassers and the
Security guy.
Yeah.
But could it be 6? We don't know if
Yes,
Nicholas survives.
I was wondering that. It's
Yeah.
left
Well,
open-ended.
the thing is, Ryan, IMDb said 5.
IMDb's always right.
He got me there.
Yeah. I thought there might have been a scene after the credits where like he was on his deathbed or something.
I would have loved. I actually said this. I was like, okay, and credits now. My fiance went, no flash forward now, and then it was actually credits, and I was like, haha, I've proved myself right. But then we watched all of the credits, and I was
Yeah.
waiting for one of two things. Mid-credit / end-credit cutscene, or you know how sometimes they play credits where there's still like audio playing.
Yeah.
I was waiting for like the ambulance signs, and then
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman be like, "He's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it," and the daughter being like, "I am very mad about it."
I never got boned.
Yeah, Nicole
That's
Kidman's
Nicole.
like,
And then-
"Fuck me now in front of our daughter. I need the fuck. I need it now
And then the
in me."
And then the paramedic says, "Don't worry, IMDb said 5."
My
You're going to be all right, son.
My vagina just needs it. It's got cobwebs in there. It's getting to the point of sand. In fact, I'm making diamonds in there. That's how much time has passed.
When the daughter and the female
Meth addict.
invader
Yeah.
were driving, and she said, like, "I'm gonna go to that party. I'm gonna blow." Like, I thought that she was actually gonna say something sexual.
Oh.
You could say it. You
Oh,
thought
she's
she was going to
crazy.
blow the young children.
Exactly.
There was a line in this movie
She's
that made me feel
unhinged.
very uncomfortable, but also made me laugh, which is the point, where the daughter says to her friend, how should I act? And she says, legal.
Oh.
Which is very
Yeah.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Because obviously that means she's underage, but it's like,
Even Nicolas Cage did say that there'll be older boys.
But he said it like, oh, you know, there's going to be older boys, and as a dad, that makes me mad. And he
Yeah.
says it's like,
Didn't he
because he's
say
on
that
the
it's his-
phone.
Didn't he say it's his
Worst
worst
nightmare. Yeah, yeah.
But he said it so nonchalantly
And you
because
see,
he's still
Ryan,
wanting to be on the
Ryan,
phone.
The thing about nightmares is it's related to fear. And the thing about fear is, well, we've been talking about Poland.
Yeah.
And the anatomy of it, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Oh, it all connects. So Ben Mendelsohn got abruptly killed. As
Aussie Ben is no more.
Old Benno, when's he going to win an Oscar? I hope he does.
Well, I hope he does, too.
There's so many great movies that he does outside of those big bad guy movies, like you know, he does Robin Hood. Yeah, the one you saw, Bartek, where he plays a possible. Well, it's one of those movies where it plays around with the whole fact that he was like a pedophile,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the whole point of it. And I want to see that movie still because it's like Ben Mendelsohn playing a slightly shady character.
Yeah.
Oh boy, sign me up.
It was great in Mississippi Grind, was it called?
Yeah, with
Was it?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, he was
Yeah,
great in
Ryan
that.
Reynolds still talks about that movie very fondly, which is quite fun and unique.
He was
Yeah.
great. I was going to say he's great in the Henderson Kids, but I doubt you.
Dan,
Sorry.
now you're going way back then.
I know.
Dan, I think I would the only one that would get that reference.
Excuse me, I've seen Ben Mendelsohn in Idiot Box,
Exactly.
so
Oh,
I know
yes.
his fascinating career.
The
And
Big
Tangle?
Steel?
Tangle's a good one too.
He's in the Big Steel, right?
I think so, yeah.
Right, you talked about a TV show where he was in the first season and he was good, right?
Oh, Bloodline.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
there's this Netflix TV series called Bloodline that went for 3 seasons and it only needed to go for 1. No, like it was one of those things where you know how Netflix doesn't know how to end
Yeah.
series. Like they clearly didn't need more than 1 season of Stranger Things, but they
Yeah.
decided we need more.
Yeah.
Don't spoil the second. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh no, it's fine. It's just more of the same, like more.
More strange things, I guess.
In
Yeah, yeah.
Bloodline,
Oh, wow.
in Bloodline is a
Strange.
great show. He plays like the black sheep of the family, and
yeah.
the whole premise is the first episode you see it's flash forward. Ben Mendelsohn's dead. The main character is dragging his body through the swamps in Florida, in the Florida Keys, and he's like, "I didn't mean to kill my brother." And then the whole series, the first season, is leading up to that event,
God.
and then the rest of the seasons are them in the aftermath of that event, and you're kind of like, "Whoops."
Wow.
Ben Mendelsohn was the most interesting character
Yeah.
and kind of held it all together, and then they got rid of him because he had to, and you're kind of like, this doesn't need to keep going, but it is. And I watched all of it, and
Had to
because
find a way to bring his twin, like he had an exact twin.
That's perfect.
and his name is also the same character name, and he's actually not a twin, but in fact
in-
he survived.
In Beer Fest, where a character dies and he's the exact same, he's the identical twin brother comes in and he insists that he calls him the same.
I like when
Name.
TV shows and movies do weird shit like that, like Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
They would have stand-in, like a guy would come in and you have a little like sign that says stand-in for whenever they couldn't get an actor in.
Oh, like an actor was sick or something.
Yeah, or couldn't
Yeah,
come
like
in.
a
They would
soap
just have
opera, yeah.
stand-in come
Yeah.
in. Or like TV shows that do weird stuff like that all the time. Like, yeah, those soap opera
Yeah,
shows do
yeah.
that very well. Like, remember Soap? The TV show
Oh,
Soap?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The TV
yeah.
show that started Billy Crystal's career.
Yeah.
And they would just do weird shit in that show too, like that. Like, oh, Benson's not in this episode, so we better comment
Yeah.
on it.
In today's episode, Benson will be played by
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
else.
Yeah.
yeah. So we're coming to the fiery
Out
end
on the
Oh,
lawn
she's
here.
trying to have sex, but it's just not working.
because his penis is bleeding out.
Yeah, he has been shot in the penis, Dan.
So the movie's ending, but I've got to ask the big question before the movie ends and we get into our reviews and ratings. Would you fuck Nicole Kidman? Bartek?
It's Keith Urban's job.
Passive aggressive, guys? Come on.
Well,
Would you passively have sex with her? And would you aggressively?
I've got to say I agree with you in that I don't want to mow anyone else's lawn. I
But at the same
respect the
time-
institution of marriage.
But at the same time, it's Keith Urban.
I don't
I
like
mean,
him at all. So to finish, yes, I would. I would definitely.
I think I'll just have a threesome with Keith and Nicole.
You really want Keith there, and he's
all right.
playing his guitar while
Noodling away on,
Yeah.
on a guitar while you.
stroking his little
play
like
some
little
re-
goatee that he has or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
You can
Yeah.
sing a romantic song.
The
He's a
answer, the
douchebag.
answer of Joel Schumacher or Keith Urban.
Keith Urban.
The weird thing is Keith Urban doesn't actually seem like much of a douchebag because he doesn't
No,
really
he's
flag
not.
himself off, but he looks like a douchebag.
I just don't like country and western music. I
Oh
can't.
no!
see,
But
I disagree with you there, Matt.
Can't, well, I'll agree with him. I came from the birthplace of Slim Dusty, so I can definitely agree it sucks. But like,
Polish name's coming up, right?
yeah, have a look out for
Ooh.
cinematographer, Bart.
There we go.
There it is.
Andrzej Bartkowiak.
Ooh, very good.
Okay. So I've been
has
pronouncing that
a-
wrong for my entire
What?
life.
How did we say it
My
before?
favourite cinematographer. And I said
Andy Bojongi.
I said Andrzej Bartisiak or something like that. I said.
I said Andre Rieu. From that.
Well, Andrzej is kind of like the
Everyone's
Polish
favorite musician,
Andrzej.
David Buckley.
Yeah, he's had a very interesting career, Andrzej Buzorak, in that he's done all these great films like Trespass,
Yeah,
and I
Falling
think
Down.
Prizzy's Honour. He's done
Prizzy's
Terms of
Honour.
Terms of Endearment. I
Yeah.
think he did, and Falling Down, as we talked about
Yeah.
before. But his directorial career
is great.
is great. Different end of the spectrum, though. We're talking Exit Wounds. We're talking Romeo Must Die.
Oh, that's a classic.
So entertaining films, but a world apart from,
Yeah,
let's say,
yeah. Some of them
Falling Down.
deserve Oscars, you know, Romeo Must Die, and some of them don't. Falling Down.
yeah.
So let's get into our reviews and ratings of the movie. I'll go first. Trespass. an interesting movie for very nuanced reasons. It's a return to form for both Nicolas Cage and Joel Schumacher. They're teamed up again and they're delivering again, showing the world that they're not done yet. But also a starting off point for people like Ben Mendelsohn, who wasn't as well known in the mainstream at this time. I mean, he's now in every movie. He's been in a Star Wars, a Robin Hood, everything. He's in everything, and everyone kind of knows him as Bad Guy McBad Guy. But this is a starting off point for him, so I kind of appreciate that this movie is kind of a return to form and a starting off point for people involved in this. It's an interesting home invasion movie. I do appreciate that it stuck to its merits of sticking to really the central location, and it did a good job of kind of letting you know the feel of this house and the feel of the people in the house. It had many twists and turns of, is Nicolas Cage lying? Isn't he lying? Why would he lie? What's the motivation of our characters? Ben Mendelsohn gives a great performance yet again and has a delicious mustache. If I had to give this movie a rating, which I do, Bartek, I'd have to give this a big old Bad Guy McBad Guy played by Ben Mendelsohn. Bartek, let's hear from you.
I also really enjoyed this film. I thought that I don't know if it revolutionized the thriller genre, but it definitely played it very well. I guess I haven't really seen as many home invasion films as I've thought I might have. I guess the closest that we've done on the show before would be When the Bow Breaks, which is sort of like a life invasion kind of thing. The surrogate mother living with them, but she's crazy. I thought this film was done very well. You touched on earlier, Matt, that this film set all in one location, and it gave us very, like an intimate feeling with the location. It's a very good thing when a film can do that, when any sort of entertainment medium can make you just be familiar with this location. And it was, even though it's a bittersweet ending, obviously they lived, but that
Do
was...
they live?
Well,
not all of them might live.
IMDb trivia. Thank you, Dan. Yes, thank you. Someone's listening.
I was waiting for someone to be like, "They live." You mean that John Carpenter classic in which Keith David refuses to wear sunglasses?
Yeah. So they lived, but the house that we became so familiar with burnt down, and that was sad.
That was very sad.
And yeah, we've just been saying things through the whole episode. There's been many twists. Nicolas Cage does what Nicolas Cage does best: surprise us with, things that are familiar and things we weren't expecting. This is a great film. I wholeheartedly recommend it. I give it a big erected pole.
Who wants to go next?
Well, I don't think I could do as good a review as you two guys just doing there, but I agree almost identically to you. This is a tight, taut sort of thriller that is solid in just about every aspect of the production, the cinematography, the direction, all very tight. And the script as well. And that's what you want from this. Like you said, it doesn't revolutionize the genre, but it does all of the things it needs to do very well.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it a lot. And I normally like Nicolas Cage films just for the fucking sake that Nick Cage is in it.
Yeah.
But this is I think this one is a cut above the rest. Cut above the rest. And you can definitely see the sort of the class of Joel Schumacher, that sort of thing, rather than the sort of the maybe more direct DVD fare that he sometimes dabbles in. You can see that the class of that in that. So I'll give this 8 Nick Cage standing in the breeze with his hair blowing in Con Air out of 10.
Wow. This movie is tight.
Yes.
As tight as Nicole Kidman's.
Oh no!
She ain't
Don't
getting,
twist my words, man.
she ain't getting any.
As tight as her will to not get with the younger brother.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice
That's
save.
that's
Great
where
save,
we're
yeah.
going. That's where we're going. And a pussy, but go on.
There's no cat in this.
I feel like Matt and I should disagree, like David and Margaret. But I actually quite enjoyed it.
So which one are you? You David
well,
or
I'll
Margaret?
probably be Margaret.
I'm the old
I'm
grumpy
sorry,
guy.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
David, but I disagree.
And then you would do that weird cackle.
And then Ebert's like, I'm the only one that matters.
No, I was pleasantly surprised. I had no expectations because I'd never heard of it before. But it was Really great cast, interesting characters. I liked that all the characters were quite kind of feisty and stood up for themselves. They didn't sort of, like the daughter especially was,
Yeah.
and she didn't, want to feel like she had to sleep with that guy. She wasn't pressured into it.
Refuses drugs.
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
scene.
She's very
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, she had the great line where she's like, he's like, where you going? He's like, somewhere to vomit, and she's like, there's a bedroom over here.
What else? I love the weird flashbacks with the weird editing.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah.
So yeah, I would give it one big diamond in the rough. Is my score. I don't know what that means, but I think it's good.
In the rough world, there's this one
Yeah.
diamond.
I like the idea that that's a title of it, and it's spelled rough like the dog.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of a dog, like there's a picture of a dog on the poster that's not in the movie. 'Cause
Yeah.
during the 90s, we covered movies like Empire Records and a few others that for some reason on the movie's poster there's a dog on a
Oh,
poster
yeah, on the
that's
DVD,
not
yeah.
in the movie.
Really?
That's
Yeah, that
very
was a
odd.
phase in the 90s, apparently,
Okay.
where a bunch of movies had dogs on the posters that weren't in the movies.
People love dogs.
How
Because it was
weird.
like, whoa, there's a dog in this.
Yeah,
must
yeah.
be,
I've got to watch this
must
film.
be crazy.
Yeah.
This film about a record
Like,
store.
yeah, 90s and 2000s. Maybe it's because of Something About Mary. That had a picture of a dog in, like,
Yeah, yes.
full body cast.
I think it might be more related to that whole notion that
dogs
people,
sell.
people like dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unlike
Yeah.
cats,
If
which
you've heard of
suck,
it.
right? We all agree
Yeah.
that.
Oh yes, definitely.
This movie even agreed it had no cats.
Yeah. Except the pussy.
Except for Nicole
You guys
Kidman's
thought there
pussy.
was, clearly.
Yeah.
So Bartek, you've gathered some comments from the interwebs.
I
I'm
have.
sure that they loved
Wow.
this.
Some did.
Please hit us.
I won't, but I'll tell you what I have found.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Dan thanks me because he's right in my vicinity.
And he
But
would have,
within
and he would have,
swinging
Yeah, I
passively
can't fight
taken
back.
a hit.
Yeah.
He would have thanked you if you.
Well,
punched him
between
with it.
Ryan and
Thank
I,
you.
I'm the passive and he's the aggressive.
It's like we've got clones here.
Ryan looks offended.
Are you now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take that.
And then Ryan's going to edit in something like me yelling or something.
I'm gonna edit in that one time where you're like, "Shut up! Will you let me speak?"
Let me speak.
What's that thing you say? Wrong. Is that what you say?
Wrong.
Wrong.
Oh, you have a catchphrase.
Wrong.
Do you have a catchphrase?
That was
Oh,
in
that was
Boss
from
Baby.
the Boss Baby
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
We love catchphrases.
Which, by the way, I looked up that comment chain and we were wrong.
Oh.
So my catchphrase in this show is every now and then I like to say once, twice, 3 times a lady.
That's true.
I've said that like a majority of episodes. Somehow I work that in. Somehow I shove
You
it
also,
in.
you know what you say even more often? You nailed it like Christ.
Yeah, you
Ooh.
nailed it like Christ. And then people are like, what? Like on the cross or like carpentry?
Yeah.
Well,
and
and
I'm
it-
like, and then I say Mary Magdalene, of course.
You should have said it in this movie. There was the nail gun scene.
Oh my god.
He nails his foot to the
He
ground.
nailed him like
You know,
Christ.
Yeah.
there was a Fat Pizza special where they did the Last Supper, and when Jesus was
Yeah.
getting nailed, Bobo was using a nail gun.
There's Bartek does have a running theme of letting us know if this has any reference point to Saved by the Bell.
Oh, I love Saved by the Bell. We should have talked about that earlier.
like there's a whole series of episodes where you had to mention Screech.
Oh, yep.
like,
'Cause
and
he
then,
was in the film.
and then I would randomly be like, why is he called Screech? Is it because he got a screechy voice? And Bartek just will be like, that's just what he's called. That's just what he's called. There's no reason. That's just what he's called.
No
And I'm like,
high-pitched
there
voice.
has to be a reason.
Yeah.
I also bring up Eurotrip sometimes.
Yes,
Eurotrip,
the,
yeah,
the
yeah.
cinematic classic Eurotrip. But did
But anyway-
these people hit us with
Yeah,
cinematic
yeah.
classic lines?
Yes, such as horrible garbage movie. This is from the IMDb. Sorry, this is from YouTube comments, by the way.
Right.
Gosh.
Horrible garbage movie. I feel sorry for Kidman and that other hot chickie who is in it. 2.5 out of 10.
Oh.
That poor hot chickie.
Now, these YouTube comments were on the trailer, were they?
Yes.
That was like, right,
They've
right,
actually
right.
watched the
So I
movie.
assume that they've seen the movie or they're judging it off the...
Sometimes they
yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but I think most of them have seen
Yeah.
it because they are commenting about it.
Yeah.
So he watched the movie and then he went to YouTube to find the trailer.
And then was like, here's
And then
my
he-
review, guys.
Yeah, yeah,
And some trailers have many, many comments.
yeah.
If they're released like around the same time as the video's uploaded and it's a film where the trailer was, first released,
Yep.
they tend to be reactions.
Yeah.
But I guess for older films, yeah, they would be more like, "Oh, I discovered this." Or
So
Yeah,
the next
yeah.
like
the
that.
next comment's gonna be a 10 out of 10, right?
I mean, they're not all comments have to be reviews, Ryan.
Yeah, but
In fact, this comment is, "I don't understand why y'all think this movie is bad. This movie is good. A lot of secrets unfold.
Yes, that's
That's
true.
a
Well,
that's
yeah.
a straight to it, tight comment, almost as tight as Nicole. Go on.
I agree, y'all.
And then sometimes there's conflict between commenters and they get responses, such as this chain.
Drama.
Some says this movie is a crap because they simply did not understand the character of each role. They must have been used to watch Mr. Bean.
Oh, I like this to be.
That sounds like Mario did that comment.
And then the response is,
Wait, I love for some reason they leaped to Mr. Bean in 2011. I imagine this comment came out. They're still like, it's a really relevant character to reference
Mr.
in this,
Bean.
right? Mr.
well,
Bean.
it keeps showing up in like charity things and
Yeah,
Snickers
yeah.
commercials.
Go on.
And then the response is, hey, no offense to Mr. Bean though, sad face.
Good comment, Rowan Atkinson. I know he wrote that.
And then the next comment is, this movie makes people angry. Look at the comments. We must make love now.
Oh, that was my comment. All right. That's
Wow.
A call for sex.
Okay.
We must
Yeah.
make love now.
The next comment is not a comment.
Oh.
It is some extracts I've taken from the Roger Ebert review
Oh, great.
to show us
To give a
where
bit of
his
a
mind is.
bit of background, Roger Ebert is well-known, esteemed film critic of America. He's very well respected, but he's also had controversial opinions, such as he thought no one would remember Full Metal Jacket because Platoon came out. And he also thought that Blue Velvet was one of the worst movies ever because he thought David Lynch exploited the actors in it by making them naked in the movie. And then Isabella Rossellini's like, what the fuck are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah,
I
yeah.
like being naked. What are you on about?
And Zoolander was bad because 9/11 happened.
Because 9/11 happened 2 weeks before its release, and he said this is not a time for comedy, like Ben Stiller somehow orchestrated
Right.
this
That's when you need it
whole
the
series of
most.
events. Or the one time in which he's like, I quite liked Race to Witch Mountain because I had met Dwayne the Rock Johnson in real life, and he made me homemade baked goods.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, and he likes to go on tangents that are just like thoughts he's having.
yeah, like he watched Baby's Day Out, and he's like, I myself have had a baby, and I do not like the idea of babies being in danger. This movie is terrible. I am scared for babies.
He didn't say that he had a baby, but he was basically having like adult fear, like, oh my god, this baby almost got hit by cars. It's in a gorilla cage.
I drive a car. I don't want to hit a baby on my way to work.
He has high anxiety, obviously.
So the first extract is from a paragraph where, to give some context, he was talking about the location, the house.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, neat.
I had some friends who lived in a modernist glass-walled house like this is. Oh, sorry, like this. And they finally sold it. They were in a wooded area, and my pal Marge said it made her feel creepy that there might be beady little eyes out there. And then quotes, probably some squirrels, I said. That's even worse.
What?
2 sentences later, the sentence after he talks about at the beginning of the film, Nicolas Cage comes home, and then the sentence is, he arrives home and is greeted by his architect wife, Sarah, Nicole Kidman, who apparently likes to expose herself to squirrels.
What? I didn't even know
What is he
why-
talking
what's
about?
he on
Well, she was
about?
getting her sexy underwear out, maybe. That's why.
Yeah, in a room that's secluded from the windows.
But
Yeah.
he brought up squirrels again.
yeah, so just a bit of
There's
context.
something going
Bartek asked me before this episode, hey Ryan, weird question, but this will relate later. Are there squirrels in this movie? And I
Does
said,
anyone mention them?
no.
Maybe we had to
No.
like, zoom in and see them. In
Like maybe Joel Schumacher's the squirrel,
Oh.
and we just
Squirrel,
don't
yeah,
know
right,
about
yeah.
it. Like maybe I haven't seen him recently. Maybe he's turned into a
Yeah.
squirrel.
Like, if you had a genuine answer, then I would have been like, oh, then those Roger Ebert comments would make no sense.
now, did Roger Ebert double feature this with Ice Age, where the Ice Age movies have that squirrel that's always after the acorn?
Oh, right, yeah.
Did he mind meld these two movies together? And he's just like,
This
and
film,
it was quite weird in Ice Age 4 when
Ice Age 4
when
was the year
Ben
after
Mendel.
Trespass.
Give me a break.
maybe it was Rocky and Bullwinkle that he just watched.
Oh yeah. He was like, it was quite weird when Ben Mendelsohn started killing the Ray Romano character.
I just like the idea that he's, afraid of squirrels or something.
Go on.
And all I have left is an IMDb review.
IMDb is great because no one ever monitors them. So you have people on IMDb who have their own conversations. Like
Yeah.
sometimes we've had ones that are like, and if you disagree with me, here's my phone number. Phone me up.
Wow, that's asking for
Wow.
trouble.
Yeah, that's not good.
There was actually one review that like was linking to their blog spot where they review movies.
Yeah, or one that's like, here's my email. Email me, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. And I did, and it bounced back because it was because it was a review from 1996. And I was like, I want to know if this Big Pond account's still open.
So this review is titled Worst Movie 2011. It is from the 12th of May 2012, and it is a 2 out of 10 review.
Wow.
I don't understand.
And it has a warning for spoilers.
Okay, so if you
Oh.
guys haven't seen the
Oh,
movie,
no.
right,
damn it.
okay, yeah.
be careful. There's spoilers.
Okay.
Dan, Matt, are
Cover
you
my
prepared
ears.
for
I'm
spoilers?
prepared for spoilers.
Spoiler
I welcome
alert.
them.
Spoiler alert. Go on.
No Story! One of my worst Apple Store investments. I just wonder. This person also randomly capitalizes the first word of some words.
Oh, okay.
I'll emphasize it when that happens.
Yep.
I just wonder why they had Cage and Kidman on the set. Must be all about money then. And then they do a sad face with like 5 open brackets.
Okay, so like
many
many
Yeah.
mouths. Like,
Many sad mouths. Although Cage and Kidman both do a great job.
Oh, that's nice.
If
So,
you-
so why did they do it? They did a great job.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
Exactly. If you just want to hang in front of the screen, this is probably a good waste of time. You will be able to turn off your brain and check afterwards again if your alarm system is alright or if there is a space for social engineering.
What's he on about?
They are not leaving the single location of a nice villa. And
God, this poor person.
and quote the story is all about opening a safe, which turns out to be empty anyway. All in all, the movie was a big disappointment, and again a warning that good auteurs do not make a great movie.
I'm feeling like this person, the way you describe, the way you're performing them, has Tourette's, and I'm waiting for them just to
Yeah.
blast off.
I'm feeling like they've got a problem with their keyboard because clearly
I
every
wonder,
second word's got a
or
capital
they're one of
on it.
those old people that use the internet and they're like, I have to capitalize
Yeah.
words because I was raised in a time in which I guess we were taught to capitalize incorrectly.
Well, I guess he did pick some nouns, but he also picked words like if, and in social engineering, it's kind of awkward that social doesn't have it, but then engineering did.
Oh, right.
yeah.
So that's it from
That's
them?
all I've got.
What year did that come out again? Was
The
there-
review?
Yeah.
2012.
Wow, so a year after. So that Apple investment really didn't pay off.
No, it hasn't been making money very obviously, unfortunately.
So,
Didn't realize you
The
could-
word worst was also capital.
so unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the show.
Yeah, this is the end.
This is the end. Goodbye. And then end episode. Guys, where can people find your podcast at? Where do you guys
Well,
hide?
The easiest place to go is passiveaggressivepodcast.com,
Yeah.
and that has links to everywhere you can listen. And you can also go to our I was going to say Twitter, but we're not on Twitter. We're on Facebook and Instagram.
Insta Slam.
Insta Slam, yes.
Do you ever have an Insta Slam that's about what you posted?
No.
You should do that. You,
recently?
you definitely should
We're not
do
very
that.
good with social media, actually.
Where you're
We're
like,
getting better.
Insta Slam this week. We posted
Yeah.
something, and then you slam yourself.
yeah. I should do that. That's a good
That's a
idea.
good idea,
I'll
yeah.
do that next time.
April Fool's is coming up.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Ooh la la.
I might do that. I don't know. Anything else, Matt?
No, we're on YouTube as well.
Yes, we're on
That's
YouTube.
where I listen to you guys.
Oh,
the
okay.
most,
Yeah.
'cause
That's interesting.
I'm subscribed to you guys on YouTube. For some
Ah.
reason, I just keep seeing you pop up on YouTube more often.
Right.
In my brain, I'm like, oh, they're on YouTube.
So that's at IMP Productions on YouTube, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's IMP Productions, all
Yeah.
one word, yeah.
Or, again, you can just go passiveaggressivepodcast.com and there's a link.
Yeah,
right there.
and you guys post fairly regularly. I
Well,
would
we're,
say,
we're
like
trying
every...
to do every 3 weeks at the moment.
Yeah.
We've been a bit
and
all over the place.
on your
the past
YouTube,
6
you have
months.
like little things in between, at least like little like
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
Highlights,
second
yep.
highlight
Yeah,
things.
you have a lot of
Highlights,
videos
grabs, and-
between episodes, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to do more on Instagram mainly.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll put some more clips up there so you can check that out if you want to see what we're
Yeah,
like.
see
But it's just
all the
Passive
stuff.
Aggressive Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic, and
Yep.
yeah, you can find them at their website, and all the links and stuff are there. You guys
Yep.
are on iTunes, I imagine? Or
Yep,
Spotify?
iTunes, Spotify, all the main
Excellent.
places you can get your podcasts.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys, so much for coming on.
Thanks for the invite, dudes.
No
Had a
problem.
blast
Yeah.
watching. I could talk about Nicolas Cage.
The cage
Endlessly.
is unleashed.
Yeah.
Now I can say to Chris when we do our next cinematic Cage watch, guess what? I've seen a Cage movie.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, which one?
Should we
and
get-
you'll be like,
I know.
You have to listen to this episode
Yeah, exactly.
to hear my thoughts.
Yeah.
We should get him to watch this and see what he thinks.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
That's
get a
true.
double
Yeah.
get
Double
his
review.
sided of
Yeah.
the review where he's
Yeah.
just like, oh man, he was that Joel Schumacher's a fucking cunt. Bartek, a pleasure as always to be delving into the deep, murky waters of unappreciated masterpieces. Again, a Nicolas Cage experience. We try to not have Nick on the show as much because he's kind of one of those guys where basically you could look at all of his movies.
Yeah.
And you
We've
kind
had
of
him-
fall down the rabbit hole of Cage. Like I've said in the past that I'm not really I like Nick Cage, but I'm not as fascinated by him as the pop culture sphere is. Like where you can
Yeah.
get him as a shower curtain or a cushion or stuff. I've always liked his wacky stuff, but I've always been like that Nick Cage.
It wasn't intentional, but since 2017, we've had one a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
G-Force, Vampire's
Vampire's
Kiss, and
Kiss,
this, and no more now until next year.
Yeah.
As always, people, you guys have been fantastic, amazing, wonderful listening people. You can find us on all the podcasting platforming sites as well, on the social medias, the Twitter, Facebook. We don't have Instagram because I just haven't been bothered.
That's fair enough.
So you can Insta-slam
Yeah.
our lack of Instagram. Give us and these guys, the ratings on whatever podcast platforming sites can do that, because that's always helpful, guys. It's always good to listen to the people and give feedback. It's always nice to know that you exist. Unless you're Nick Cage, I know that you're a fan of us already. You don't need to express it, because then you'd have like an iTunes review that's like 5 paragraphs long. And he's talking about dinosaur bones. And he doesn't even mention our podcast once, and he's just like, and then he's like, and I'm on rollerblades while writing this or something. So, until next time, listening people, remember to be kind to each other.
Yes, and lock your doors, because if you don't, then some bad men might Anatomy of Fear you.
Are they going to warn them to close their curtains because squirrels are menacingly
Well, no,
watching
no,
them?
no. Roger Ebert has passed away, so I don't need to give that advice to anyone living in this world.
Fair enough.